Flanagan as the back four. It's Jack Davies and Kamara as the three. Just getting underway here at Ibrox this midday. It's always a very exciting event to see the first Old Firm of the season, as you would expect after the first 3 games. Both Celtic and Rangers on 9 points. Celtic 5 goals better in terms of their goal difference. Both teams are through to the Europa League group stage. So this really is a very evenly poised game, and we're hoping for a very exciting one as well. Myself, Paul Shabakovic and John Hogan taking you through the action. Rangers straight away having to do some defending, though, as Celtic go on the attack, and Forrest now breaking into the box. Gets across in now from the right-hand side. It gets into the area, headed up in the air by Tavernier, and there's a bit of work here for Rangers to try and clear their lines. Arfield eventually does hook it away back towards the halfway line, but a bright start there for Celtic, John, and we're hoping for a good one this afternoon.
Yeah, that's right. I've got to say, the first kick of the match made me laugh, because Edward went for touch, didn't he? He just chipped it down the line. Yeah. He said, right, we'll park there, we'll start on the front foot, and that's exactly what they've done. I fancy Rangers today, but I don't really fancy either team at all, because we've both done them in Europe recently, and they've both been terrible. They're both on 9 points, top of the table. Celtic just by goal difference, but I think when I watch Celtic and look at the team, I think they progressively get worse. Scott Brown's not getting any younger, is he? And where are those big name players? I can't believe Nchame is not playing either. For me, he's their best midfielder. Forrest is mercurial, and in Odsonne-Edouard, I think there's a ray of hope for them. 21 years of age, 6'2", 16 goals in 32 games. But he might be. Somebody who definitely was is Jermaine Defoe, but is he still the same player? And we know why he's in today. It's because Morelos might well have got sent off in this fixture. As we see a shot from Ryan Christie, trying one from range there. It looked vaguely interesting in the air, didn't he? He never came back down, really. But, for Rangers, I slightly would fancy them more. I think Aribo, the Nigerian's got a bit going for him. And if he can link up with Defoe, then, that could be a good route to goal. The other thing is, both teams need to keep 11 players on the park.
Absolutely, yeah. That's always an issue in an Old Firm game, to keep 11 players on the park. As you mentioned, Morelos is on the bench this afternoon. See if he does come on later on. But now Rangers trying to get out of their half for the first time. The ball to Tavernier is just a little bit overhit. He couldn't quite control it, but the challenge there coming in from Bolingoli. So it is going to be a throw to Rangers now down the right-hand side, heading towards the Celtic penalty area. Tavernier now throws it out to Ryan Jack. And Jack now playing the ball back towards the halfway line. Picked up here now by Katic. And a bit of possession now for Rangers after that. A very bright start from Celtic, who, as John mentioned, just sent the ball long and then just camped outside the Rangers half for a couple of minutes. A couple of crosses and a shot off target in the end in those first few forays for Celtic. But now Rangers looking to try and play out from the back. Well, that was a very poor ball, though, from Goldson. Goes straight out for a throw to Celtic. As I say, I did the game on Thursday night, where Rangers finally did beat Legia Warsaw in the final minutes of that game. In fact, just as it was heading into injury time. I mean, Legia really came to defend. They had a couple of chances. They didn't play particularly well, the Polish side, but Rangers really made hard work of the 2 legs, I thought. Yeah, I mean, I did the first leg. I thought, actually, I'd have to give credit to Steven Gerrard. I just thought, right, they put the clamp on the game. They don't want anything to happen. And then it's like this. Look, if we can't get them back to Ibrox and win, then we don't deserve to go through. And I think that's it. And eventually, tooth and claw, they got through. I think that's good management for me. He's squeezing the best out of a moderate bunch. But equally, Celtic are a very moderate bunch as well now. And I don't know, maybe, there could be a change at the top of the table by the end of the season where Rangers come on top. Because I think one thing is that they have got impetus and a bit of momentum. Whereas for Celtic, it's like every year you look at them year upon year, you think they're just slightly worse. Without Tierney, are they just a selling club for bigger teams? And then are there a bigger? Is there a bigger team than Celtic? Yeah, those who throw the money around are the bigger teams. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And Celtic, as far as they're concerned, of course, they've had this amazing period now as Rangers have been getting back up the divisions, and perhaps there is a little bit of complacency as to how deep their squad actually needs to be. But Celtic now in possession on the halfway line. Long ball played over towards Bolingoli. He can't quite control that. And it goes out of play for a Rangers throw. Just coming up to 5 minutes gone at Ibrox. It is goalless between Rangers and Celtic. Ball now on the right-hand side. Tavernier gets it back from Jack. Good bit of hustle there on the left-hand side from Johnston. Just a bit of pushing and shoving there as well. Straight away, the fans getting involved in all of that as well, of course, jeering on their players. But now the ball's on the halfway line. Strong challenge there on Jack. He just about gets it back, though, to Katic. He goes over towards the left-hand side now for Flanagan. He's under a bit of pressure. Katic now forced to play it a bit longer towards Aribo. Aribo under pressure as well there from Julien. But Rangers still keeping possession now on their left-hand side. That's good work, though, coming back there from El Hamed. And now Julien playing the ball back to Forster. He's got to clear it first time. He's been closed down there by Defoe. Ball on the halfway line, headed forward by Katic. But Arfield and Defoe are both coming back from offside positions there, so they can't quite get on the end of that. Rangers have got a pretty tough grip, I would say, in their Europa League group stage. They've got Porto, Feyenoord and Swiss side Young Boys as well, so that'll be a tough one to get out of.
Yeah, I don't see him making progress out of that, but you never know. Obviously, they need to do well at Ibrox and then camp in. Steven Gerrard knows what he's doing. I think he's a good manager, and so I guess anything possible, but I wouldn't be having a bet on them getting through the group.
Well, we'll have a look at Celtic's group in a minute, because Celtic are on the attack now. A ball comes over from the left-hand side. It's cut out inside the 6-yard box, and it is going to be a corner kick to Celtic, the first set piece of the game.
Yeah, good scampering run down the left from Mikey Johnston. Showing a bit of twinkle toes down there, and he got a decent ball in, blocked away by Connor Goldson, and so it is a corner kick for the Celts.
Yeah, it's going to be an outswinger from Christie, and he's got a whole line of players to aim for at the edge of the 6-yard box. Good header away, though, from Goldson to the edge of the area, headed on even further there by Kamara, but it's still kept alive here by Celtic. It goes back to Christie on the left-hand side. His cross towards the around where the penalty spot is headed away, though, by Goldson. Ball kept alive here on the right-hand side by El Hamed. Did a bit of pressure here from Celtic, and eventually it's built on now the Israeli, who goes all the way back towards Forster. So certainly more possession for the away side in these first few minutes of the Old Firm game, but certainly Rangers haven't had too much work to do in front of goal, just a couple of clearances, certainly no work for goalkeeper McGregor. But now here comes Celtic again, down the left-hand side goes Christie. That's good work there from Stephen Davis to dispossess him. Pass doesn't reach Arfield, though. It's cut out by Bolingoli. It will be a throw to be taken now by Tavernier. And as I mentioned, Celtic's group in the Europa League, they've got Cluj, who ironically knocked them out of the Champions League before they themselves dropped into the Europa League. They've also got Lazio and Rennes. So, again, it's not a group that's easy for Celtic by any stretch.
No. I mean, over the last few campaigns, we've done a lot of Celtic in Europe. We cover a lot of European games. But they haven't been good to watch. You know, you can... Well, it's hard to think back about, really strong performances. But anyway, they're challenged. I wouldn't say either team will get through, but strong challenge in the middle of the park, but Rangers playing on an opportunity for them for Defoe.
Yeah, Defoe breaking into the box. That's a really poor touch, though, from Jermaine Defoe. I was expecting him to do something with that as he broke into the box. It almost ran away from him and out for a goal kick, but it's played back now towards Jack, and then there's an opportunity to perhaps get the ball in to Aribo. Arfield couldn't quite do that, and now Edouard picks the ball up on the halfway line for Celtic. Be interesting to see if referee Bobby Madden wants to give an early yellow card there. I think it was Callum McGregor really crashed in on the Rangers man there, but I think that one's probably been and gone now. The ball's still in play. We haven't had any break in play since that challenge. Long ball now from Davies. Loose ball now picked up by Defoe. Back from Aribo. Defoe breaking into the 6-yard box. Good challenge at the last minute there to put that one out for a corner. But Rangers very close to taking the lead there.
Yeah, El Hamed just turning that ball away. Lively stuff, though, after a poor first touch from Jermaine Defoe in the game. But then Arfield, we're just looking at him, crunched by McGregor. I mean, that could be a straight red. Honestly, and at the very least a yellow, that should have been.
Yeah.
But McGregor maybe's got lucky because the sort of time elapsed, and then the referee is maybe forgotten him. But is he having a word now? Don't know. No, he isn't.
No, he's let it go, I think, the referee, Mr. Madden. As the corner kick comes in from Stephen Davis, the final touch. Looks like it might have come off Nikola Katic there, and it does go out for a Celtic goal kick in the end. But you can see, I mean, Gerrard was exploded when he saw that challenge coming in on his midfielder there. Very unhappy, because of course he'll be worried as well that the more challenges like that are let go, the more feisty the game could get.
No, absolutely. If you let one of those go, and then all of a sudden it's revenge is what's on the card. You can't do that if you're Bobby Madden. You've got to get a grip on the game. That was Katic, wasn't it? Trying to get his head on that corner kick.
He shouldered it in the end, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he's the dominant force in the air, though. He's a big guy. I've never really fancied near Bitton at the back. I think he's probably a holding midfielder more, isn't he? Christopher Jullien, the Frenchman's made a decent start, and we saw El Hamed just towing that ball away from Jermaine Defoe. I tell you what, though, 10 minutes in, and it's the game I expected. It's lively, crunching.
Yeah.
There's a lot of drama. There's going to be a lot of yellow cards. I fancy in this game.
Well, as I say, I would have expected to have seen one by now after what McGregor did to Arfield there, but it is still goalless, still no bookings, and it's Celtic now in possession inside their own half with a long clearance now from Forster, looking for the run of Johnston. Now McGregor there wins the header. It's Edouard chasing that ball, but it's hooked away by Goldson, aimed at Aribo. Ball now with Bolingoli for Celtic on the left-hand side. He plays it back to Bilton, and then he looks to get it back towards Fraser Forster. Just looks up to see where any I think he wanted to play it short initially, but there are still a few Rangers players close to goal, so he's going to try and send it a bit further forward now. Fraser Forster. Celtic have Griffiths, Nacham, Hayes, Morgan, Bauer, Bayo, and goalkeeper Gordon on their bench this afternoon. As for Rangers, it's Barisic, King, Jones, Morelos, Ojo, Helander, and goalkeeper Fodringham as well. So pretty strong benches there. King's an interesting signing for Rangers, of course, former Leicester City man, and Morelos, of course, the flagship striker. I wonder if we are going to see him later today. I suppose Gerrard will make that judgment depending on how feisty the game is. But Katic now getting back towards his own goal. And Alan McGregor there with Edouard approaching. Just has to play a long ball now, looking for the run of Tavernier on the right-hand side. It's been won back by Kamara here in the middle for Rangers. Goes up towards Aribo. Now back towards Flanagan. And so far it is Rangers just keeping possession inside their own half. No real option to get forward. And Flanagan playing it all the way back to goal.
Yeah, we were sort of having a laugh before kick-off, thinking who's the first to get booked. My money's still on Morelos on the bench, but I think the battle actually would be between Flanagan and Scott Brown, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
and be like a race to see who gets their first yellow card out of those two.
Absolutely, as Brown just bumped into there by Ryan Jack, and then a ball played over the top, but that one is going to go straight to Alan McGregor. So it's been a lively start at Ibrox in this Old Firm clash. Rangers and Celtic 0-0 so far. Not too much to speak of in front of goal, but there's been already a couple of crunching challenges in the middle. In particular, Callum McGregor going in very hard on Scott Arfield. Really, that should have been a booking at the very least. And the referee, Bobby Madden, perhaps allowing play to go on because there was no a free kick given straight away, and he just sort of let the moment pass. But other than that, both sides have tried to go at each other. Not too much work for either goalkeeper as yet, but it's certainly been a lively start here at Ibrox, and it's 0-0.
Little flick there from Scott Arfield didn't quite work out. Of course, those Premier League watchers will remember him plying his trade down south. But he was actually born in Scotland, albeit he's a Canadian international. 17 games and 2 goals. His little flick to Aribo didn't quite work out. Aribo couldn't take it in. Aribo actually seems to be playing ahead of Defoe.
It's almost like Defoe's a number 10, or they're sort of interchanging. But it's interesting about Arfield. I think he accepted his Canadian call-up because of his I think his grandparents. But ironically, I think if he'd have waited another year or two, I think he would have been a Scotland regular.
Yeah, I reckon so as well. Slim pickings, isn't it, for Scotland? And they need everybody they can get, really. And maybe Arfield would have played a fair amount. Difficult to say, though, because they've not really been successful at this Scotland recently, so when that happens, you do tend to see the 11 change time and time again. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, we heard earlier this week Sheffield United manager Chris Wilder having to act as spokesman for his Scottish striker McBurney, who was filmed just on a phone by one of the players. He was asked after one of the games in the dressing room, do you want to be called up for the next Scotland squad? And his answer was, I hope not. And obviously Chris Wilder had to sort of explain that it was just banter, that McBurney obviously does want to play for Scotland. He just made that sort of flippant comment. It's always a bit dangerous when you ask players things in the dressing room after a game and things like that, when things are taken out of context, but certainly may have been a sort of alluring to the fact that it's not a great time to be playing for Scotland at the moment.
No, exactly, but you've got to be pretty careful what you say, don't you? Really,
we've got a bit of a clash of heads now, and player down. I think it looks like it was a Celtic player there who was down on the ground.
I tell you what, it's funny, isn't it, how opinions can change of somebody in a split second. Ben Stokes puts a Spurs shirt on, And all of a sudden, half of London hates him. Loads of players say, "Well, it's a shame now they're supporting Australia in the Ashes because he's wearing a Spurs top." But it's amazing what little thing that can turn people's minds and.
It's just proof that we as football supporters, and I say we as in all of us that follow football, have always been accused of being very fickle, and I suppose it's true, isn't it, that we can be?
Yeah, absolutely. I saw Harry Kewell on TV this morning, turncoat. Anyway,
said by a very moderate Leeds fan, and didn't mind at all that Kewell left to go to Liverpool, did he? It's just one of those things. But of course, these things do happen in football. We've had a bit of a break in play. That's why we've allowed ourselves a quick conversation there, because the Celtic right back El Hamed had a bit of a clash of heads with Flanagan. Flanagan seemed to come off with it okay, but El Hamed just needed a bit of treatment. Now Celtic get play started again, and the ball ends up with Johnston on the left-hand edge of the penalty area. He's got Bolingoli up there with him. Bolingoli now finding space for the cross, floats the ball into the penalty area, which is hooked away by Flanagan. Doesn't get too much distance on it. Then Davis tries to get the ball a bit further away before Glenn Kamara now bringing it away. That's really good challenging there from Scott Brown, and wins that ball back. Here comes El Hamed now heading towards the penalty area, plays one in for Edouard, just a little bit too telegraphed that pass really, and Rangers were able to read it. Scott Brown trying to stop the run of Glenn Kamara, but he gets away from Brown this time, and then Brown leaves a foot on him and brings Kamara down. Thought we might be seeing that classic yellow card for the Celtic captain, but not quite yet.
No, I mean, he probably deserved it. No great attempt to play the ball, is it there? He lunging through the back of the fin. Glenn Kamara. And, an obvious free kick. Bobby Madden not wanting to reach for his cards just yet. I guess he's thinking that the later I leave it, the less likely I am to send anybody off and shape the way that the game goes.
There's one theory on how to referee a game like this, but of course the flip side of that is that the longer you wait to get that first card out, then when you give your first card out, you'll find that you're giving out 5 in the next 5 minutes anyway, because the pace of the game and the amount of physical contact by that stage might have increased significantly. But as it is, it's Celtic in possession inside the run-off. Bolingoli threads a quick ball through. Now might be a chance for Christie to get forward. He's dispossessed. No foul, says the referee. Loose ball may still get to James Forrest, but it is Rangers now who win the ball back inside their own half. Katic going back to McGregor.
Yeah, Stephen Davis just nicking the ball again there in midfield. It's still a super player, isn't he? Huge international, vast international experience with Northern Ireland. Brilliant in the Premier League as well.
I thought he was a little bit cast out a bit too quickly from Southampton, really.
Yeah, I think so. I think the same thing happened to him as probably happened to Jermaine Defoe, where he just thinks, well, I don't seem to be making any headway. They don't fancy me right now. And then you sort of throw your toys out the pram a little bit. And if you remember, Defoe went to the MLS, didn't he? You think, well, what are you doing there, mate?
Yeah.
You've got a lot to do before you go get your retirement.
He went there quite early as well. Then he sort of came back, had a spell with Bournemouth, didn't he? Before he ends up as Scott Brown, geeing up his teammates there, getting really into it. Scott Brown, isn't he? Just trying to motivate his teammates there. I think that the way he sort of turned to one of his teammates there with his fist up is probably a nice sort of pictorial image of what the old firm's all about, really, in terms of how intense it is as the throw ends up on the halfway line. Now Rangers win it back, though. Here is Glenn Kamara. The ball just gets away from him. Nice challenge there from Hamed. And now it's Ryan Christie runs straight into Ryan Jack. The referee decides that was his fault rather than a foul from Jack. So now Rangers can keep possession alive. It's with Tavernier on the right-hand side. Gets the ball into the penalty area, headed away by Bilton. Loose ball may still end up here with Arfield. He's got his hand up as he goes down to say that he might have been fouled. Referee wags the finger though, says there's no free kick. Ball over the top now. Good challenge there from Goldston to stop the ball reaching Edouard. Tavernier now trying to get that ball down the right-hand side, but he is charged down by Johnston, and it is going to be a throw to Rangers now. Well, there's an arm across there from Bolingoli, but I'm not sure you'd get a penalty for that in an Old Firm game, would you?
No, I don't think so. I think as well, it might have been a consideration had Arfield been able to control it, cushion it into his chest and bring it down like he was in control of the ball. Ball pings off his chest and the arm comes across, but he's never going to get back on the end of that. And that makes it easy for the referee to make no decision. And let's face it, he didn't want to make any decisions at all. He'd rather it all go very quietly, sedately. But it didn't quite look like one to me.
No, as you said, I think the referee is just wanting to keep his head out of it as much as he can. He doesn't want it to be able to. He doesn't want it to interfere too much. But at one stage, he might just get a little bit too physical anyway. As it is, it's Celtic now in possession on the halfway line. Callum McGregor, who probably should have been booked already in this game, tries to get the ball away there from our field. It goes out for a throw. Always gets me as well, just how intense it is. As soon as the Celtic player goes anywhere near the advertising boards there to pick the ball up for a throw, it's almost like a whole row of Rangers fans just waiting to sort of lean out and try and shout something and get some gestures across.
It's like a magnet with iron filings.
It is, absolutely, yeah.
They just all get drawn towards it, don't they? And plenty of bile and attitude and all that. But that's what it's all about. I'd really like to go and savour the atmosphere of an Old Firm derby once. If you could do it safely somehow and be parachuted in and lifted back out right at the end, it'd be quite something, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. Certainly, everyone that's been to one says that it is an intense atmosphere. I've been to a few intense games over the years, but certainly the Old Firm is one I've not crossed off the bucket list as yet. Studio-based commentary, of course, for our game this afternoon, as El Hamed now moving the ball forward down the right-hand side, gets stopped by Kamara. And for all the intensity, it has to be said, there's virtually nothing happening in front of any goal at the moment.
No, we saw little half chances, didn't we, for Rangers early doors, and Celtic had made a decent start. They've had a couple of shots, but neither keepers had that much to do so far.
No, there have been spectators for most of it, as Flanagan now clears the ball away from his own penalty area, sent vaguely in the direction of Scott Arfield, but Bolingoli will get there first. He goes back into near Bilton, and the Celtic start again on the halfway line. Bilton's ball forward, picked up now on the left-hand side by Johnston. He leaves it for Bolingoli. That's a good challenge, though, from Arfield. Wins it back for Rangers, but that's also a good challenge from McGregor. He wins it back for Celtic, and the ball goes forward now. Nice bit of control there from Christie. Sends it out towards the right-hand side now for El Hamed. And now on the right-hand edge of the field, it's James Forrest, cuts back in onto his left foot, then stabs a ball through with his right. Bit of miscommunication there with Christie. He didn't go for a ball that was very close to him. And now it's with Ryan Jack, who's taking a bit of a risk there, but he rolls the ball back to goalkeeper McGregor, who then sends it long up towards the halfway line. Bilton and Bolingoli just about keeping possession for Celtic, going back towards goalkeeper Fraser Forster. And the home side still looking fairly comfortable in terms of soaking up Celtic pressure, but I'm sure Stephen Gerrard would like to be able to get his side pushing a bit further forward. Here comes Celtic, though. Nice exchange there between Christie and Edouard. Edouard perhaps should have pulled the trigger at the edge of the area. He just loses his balance and then gets stopped just as he gets to the edge of the D, and the ball is cleared up for a throw.
Yeah, it looked good to start with, but then a really strong challenge in there from Katic, was it, who just reads where Edouard's going and then crunches him, but in the right way, stops him in his tracks, and he can't get the shot away, can't do anything. But it was good defending there. I think Golson and Katic are fairly decent as a partnership, and so far they haven't had a right lot to do.
No, but we've seen them a couple of times over the last few weeks, and they're both quite comfortable on the ball. They can both send a good ball out from defence. They're both decent in the air. They're both quite tall players as well, strong players. So they certainly fit the mould of the modern centre-back, who is strong but can also play out from the back. But we've reached the halfway point in this first half at Ibrox. It is Rangers 0, Celtic 0, and it will be John to take you through to half-time.
Yeah, so they're the home team, but I just have a sense that the Teddy Bears are not dominating this, and actually Celtic have been allowed to play a little bit more football. As we'd expect, it is still an arm wrestle out there, and it's a bit tight. But most of the football has come from the Celts as Brown beats Joe Rebo in the middle of the park. Just more committed there, really. And then the ball with Hamed. El Hamed finds it. Brown, who again has got too much for a Rebo, spins around him. Bitton finds a good ball for Bolingoli, who turns around Arfield too easily. Arfield tries to tag McGregor, but he can't. Then Johnston shows too much to Tavernier, and he's able to thump that down the line. It's all about that hustle, harry, effort, energy, and it's all there. But we'd like a bit more finesse and chances at goal. But I keep saying that Rangers may be building, and they've got some good players who may be regarded in sort of the veteran class, if you like. And for Celtic, is there enough talent? If I was James Forrest, I'd want to be on the ball all the time. But here, Defoe tries to break forward. And in the end, Rebo wins. Good ball there. That's brilliant from him. An opportunity then for Flanagan, ranging forward, but a bit of a mix-up then. They nearly lose the ball. Win it back at the edge of the area. Breaks back for Arfield. Scoops it out his feet. Oh, it's meant for a Rebo. not Defoe.
Oh, Defoe there.
Well, he didn't have eyes in the back of his head, which he needed because there was a man better placed behind him. But Defoe played the ball that was a good ball straight to him from our field, which...
It wasn't meant for Defoe, you're absolutely right. Aribo was waiting in a much better position there, and then Defoe ends up sending it out to a right back on the overlap who wasn't even there. It just goes straight out for a Celtic throw.
Well, El Hamid was nowhere to be seen, and there was only Christopher Julian who was marking Defoe, and so had that ball got through, Aribo would have had a shot on goal. Anyway, ball breaks to Flanagan again. Little flick to Aribo, and then into the middle of the park for Kamara. But now El Hamid gets a foot in. Shows too much to Aribo. Does well to win that ball back. Good ball from the camera to find Arfield. Just about brings it in. Flicks it out to his left. Aribo now driving into the box. What can he do? Little step over, but he's blocked there by Brown, who read what he was doing. Made it too tight. He couldn't squeeze through that gap. But that's good defending by Scott Brown.
Well, it's starting to get a little bit, a bit of a spring in the step for Rangers now, and you can see Neil Lennon, that's forced him to get up on his feet and stand right at the edge of his technical area to try and get some instructions out, because his side, I couldn't say they were carved apart there, because Rangers needed a couple of slide tackles to keep that move alive, but the fact is they got to the edge of the area, it looked good, but now a poor ball from Ryan Jack might give a chance for Celtic to go on the counter, but then at least he makes up for it with a decent challenge.
Yeah, he does. Ryan Jack needs to sort his radar out. Not quite there yet. It's the kind of game that it's just such a flurry, isn't it? And again, for Celtic, if they think they can make a few easy yards down that flank from the throw-in, immediate screams and a baying from the crowd.
I mean, you normally see fans appeal that hard when they want a penalty, so don't they? But there it was just the fact that Bolingoli was 2 or 3 yards ahead of where he was supposed to be, which generally is the easiest defence to get away with on a football field, I find. But the referee there couldn't ignore the fact that about 500 people were screaming at Bolingoli to get back, and Celtic just need to do a little bit more to try and get the ball away from their own half as well. Yeah,
that's right. Golson then with a good clearance again, and then nobody in a rush to take that throw again down the left hand side, but Bolingoli will take it again. He's just creeping again. The
Rangers fans are furious there, aren't they?
Yeah, he stole a yard or two, and there's a strong challenge in the middle of the park, and I thought that Ryan Christie absolutely chopped there. Referee again. Well, he says we've had a few of those, so I'm not giving it as a yellow. But
that's a poor challenge from Glenn Kamara.
I mean, it's a yellow card all day, though.
It is. I think in any other game, in any other league, the referee would have probably had 2 or 3 yellow cards shown by now. But with this being an old firm, there is that sort of level of understanding that there has to be some physicality, and perhaps the referee has had a meeting with the referees committee before the game, and they've said, look, let's just try and keep 11 against 11 for as long as possible, which is fine in itself. But and obviously we know the referees do have to manage each game, but there's been a couple of challenges now which really have been questionable, but a couple of Celtic players standing over this one.
Yeah, I think they've got to set the tone, the referees, and go into the dressing room and say, look, it's a big game, but we're going to referee it like we normally do. No special circumstance for any game. So see a shot that's driven well wide by Edouard, misses the mark.
At Ibrox, it's still goalless between Rangers and Celtic in this first Old Firm of the season. And for all the excitement in the middle of the park, a couple of strong challenges. We've still not seen any yellow cards, when really probably Scott Brown should have been booked. McGregor could have been booked, and certainly Glenn Kamara could have been booked for a challenge he put in just now on Ryan Christie. But other than that, there was a really good chance for Rangers when the ball broke towards Defoe at the edge of the area. He could have left it for Aribo, who's placed in a better position, and then Defoe ultimately put the ball out of play. At the other end, there was a free kick for Celtic with Judson Edouard sent over the bar. So there's not too much happening in front of goal, but it's still an exciting Old Firm, and it's still 0-0.
That there from Defoe is not particularly a good one, and Bolingoli can clear his line, but only clears it onto the head of Tavernier, and Rangers can come forward again in the middle of the park with Jack and then Camera, and then the ball out to the right hand side. Stephen Davis just tidying things up, keeping possession. As the ball now whipped out to the left. Flanagan's got a bit of room to run into. Forrest a bit tardy catching him. Finds Aribo, steps inside. He's got El Hamid there, who gets a good intervention. Another challenge in the middle of the park, but Christie didn't lay a glove this time, really on camera. Then Davis drives in, finds a good ball for Defoe. He cuts and he shoots, and he's straight to Fraser Forster. Well, a good bit of play that. The flag had gone up though. So it wouldn't have counted
Wouldn't
anyway.
have counted anyway, but the strike from Defoe pretty much straight at the goalkeeper. All starts with Kamara laying the ball off to Davis. This is really good work from Davis, and Defoe is offside. You can actually see that by the fact that his foot is sort of touching the edge of the area, the line at the edge of the area, and there were no Celtic players in line with him, so it was quite an easy one for the linesman there.
Yeah, they just stepped up, didn't they, the Celtic defence, but here Arfield trying to play it through, and Bitton gets there just ahead of Defoe, and he slaps the ground in frustration, but it wasn't a free kick. McGregor then into the middle of the park, but you don't have that long on the ball. He does fairly well in the end to find Bolingoli. Johnston just lays it back, needs to get on it a little bit more. He's chopped down before he can turn, and the referee's given a free kick. Grand Jack doesn't like that, but
no, neither do the Rangers fans. To the side of the field there either. They thought that it was a bit of a soft decision. Mikey Johnson there as he gets that ball and. Well, I mean, he's about to control it and he gets pushed off it, so I suppose it's a question of how much contact there was, but he couldn't get to the ball because of an opposition player, so you could argue that there was enough for a free kick there.
Yeah, one of those, and you can see both sides of that, but that didn't help the Rangers fans to the far side keep calm and cool, and it's a free kick now, chance to load up the box. Julian hand in the air, waiting for it, Bitton in there as well, in comes the delivery, but out goes the ball. Good clearance there by Goldson. And eventually the ball back with Bolingoli back to Fraser Forster. We've had half an hour, which has flown. It's not been a great game, though, has it? Really?
It hasn't. No, it's a strange one, really. I suppose even doing a studio commentary of this game where we're not there, but you can still sense that atmosphere, and you can still sense that there's a real intensity to this game. So, as you said, we've done games which have had this few amount of chances and a lot of midfield possession after half an hour. We'd probably be complaining that the game is not showing us too much, but in this one, it is still quite still very much an entertaining watch. Yeah,
it is in many respects, and it's also like you're waiting for. It's like waiting for a bus. They're waiting for the next sort of yellow card challenge, even though our referee is kept his cards in his pocket. The ball given away. Mikey Johnson, chance to scamper forward. He's got a bit of pace about him. Finds a good ball to Anton Edouard. Driving into the box. An opportunity. He rolls it into the back of the net. Celtic have scored. Well, was he offside? I don't think so. It looked like he turned into space. The flag stayed down. That's a tidy finish from Anton Edouard.
Deadlock broken then at Ibrox, and it's the visitors Celtic who score on 32 minutes, and it's the big forward on Sonny Edouard who rolls the ball in from a tight angle after the ball was played through to him. It was actually Connor Goldson for Rangers who completely gave the ball away on the halfway line, and after a decent run from Ryan Christie, Edouard, was he offside? We're just seeing a replay. I think he might have been just level as that ball is played to him. He then breaks through the defence and tucks the ball past Alan McGregor to give Celtic a 1-0 lead.
Tidy finished out by Edouard. I mean, he puts it dead close to McGregor there, and right down by his ankle. Yeah, I think it's a good finish. What I would say about the offside is that I thought, like you did, that he was bang level. My other point about that would be that because Goldson was playing out with the ball, the assistant referee on the side who was going to put his flag in the air was caught anticipating the ball going further up the field. He was not in line, not in a million years. So he might have had to keep the flag down anyway, because he wasn't looking down that line, and he would have been playing a guessing game. All that probably played in his favour. Had he been looking down the line and to time it would have been difficult. So he may put the flag up, as the flag has gone up there this time on Defoe.
Yeah, and you can certainly imagine what the Rangers supporters just level with the linesman are saying to him now, although Defoe was always offside. He never came back onside from when he initially strayed off when the passing moves for Rangers started, and that's something that Defoe's had throughout his career. He's always been somebody who has played on the last shoulder perhaps a little bit too much, as we see another replay here. I mean, it's very, very hard to say. As you say, it's a very good point you make about the linesman. He is a couple of yards behind that shade of turf that is in question between Edouard and the last defender. I think from our perspective, it's still... I mean, we'd have to get the VAR sort of ruler out and everything else to be 100% sure, but to me, it looked like it probably was just about level.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Close run thing, but Edouard timed it just right. You know, we were talking about how good Goldson and Katic were, and then... You know, Goldson has given the ball away. I mean, you don't want to give it to the scampering Mikey Johnson, but here's Arfield breaking forward now, an opportunity, but the ball takes a deflection and it won't reach a Rebo, And then El Hamid is able to clear his lines. Edouard can't bring that ball in. Ooh, strong challenge in the middle of the park.
That's got to be a yellow card there for. I mean, the challenge on Bolingoli there is a tough one from Ryan Jack, and certainly the Celtic players are very unhappy about this. And let's just have a look at the replay. I mean, that's a shocking challenge from Ryan Jack. I mean, how he's, if the referee doesn't get his cards out for this, then the players might as well just kick lumps out of each other throughout the game, because
listen, he's sliding in to win the ball. I think Bolingoli, he's going for the ball on an angle where he takes the ball, not the man. Ryan Jack's coming in from a different angle for this 50-50 ball, but he knows he's going to get the ball and get the man. And he's followed through. He's 2-footed. And the feet are high, so his studs are going well over the top of the ball. It's a disgusting challenge. It is, and it looks like he's got away with it. I don't see any cards being shown there, so it does make you wonder what you have to do in this game to get a yellow card. And a couple of the Celtic coaches there reacting quite angrily as well when they realise that there probably isn't going to be a booking. Yeah, do you know what? This referee set the tone. Don't do your Howard Webb. I mean, do you remember that Spain against Netherlands? It's a World Cup final. I'm not going to do anything. I don't want to send anybody off. Not just carte blanche for the Dutch to kick the Spanish legs off. It wasn't a good World Cup fight, and he should have sent somebody off.
He should have. I mean, the thing is, I seem to remember that at the time, more people were of the view that it was the good thing because the World Cup final would have been ruined. But actually, I think that as time has passed, people have realised that what he should have done was set the law down early. Using his policing experience from years of being a South Yorkshire copper, and perhaps he should have laid the law down early, and then there would have been less chance of these challenges. I mean, there's still, Bolingoli has only just been able to stand up now.
Well, thankfully he's got up. I mean, I thought we might be seeing him off on a stretcher.
Yeah, I'm amazed that's not produced a yellow card for Ryan Jack, and say Bobby Madden is playing a very. I mean, I say he may well be told at half time. He may be shown a couple of replays or something just to sort of understand that there should have been a couple of cards shown already.
If you were doing a course on refereeing what's a foul and what deserves a yellow card, we'd have 3 instances in this game.
Absolutely,
and you'd ask a room full of people, do you think this is a yellow card? And if they've all played football, they'd all say yeah, but he hadn't given one. So I don't know what he's thinking about. And the other thing is, you set the tone. If you're the referee, I'd go into both dressing room and say, look, this is a normal game of football. You're not going to, if you kick each other's legs off, I'm just going to book you. Yeah. You do it twice, you get sent off. You know what the rules are. It's an old firm game. There's passion in it. But that doesn't mean to say you go out there with a hatchet and just chop everybody down.
No, you're absolutely right. And as I say, it's a strange one that the referee hasn't booked Jack for that one. But Bolingoli is back on his feet. He's back in play as well. And Celtic have a throw at the edge of the Rangers penalty area.
Well, then he does have a throw. I'll get off my high horse now, but I think the game's hard enough anyway with everything that goes with it. We want to see a bit of commitment and crunching challenges in a derby, and if you overstep the mark, then you get a yellow card. I don't mind that. The other thing, that's the drama. Players who get the yellow card know then they're on the tightrope. You do what you do, but anyway, referee been very lenient. Scott Brown heads the ball on. But he can only find Katic, who lays it back to his keeper. I think the game pretty even. But Celtic have taken their one good chance. Good finish by Edouard. And really for Rangers, they just haven't quite got it right. But that's a good challenge by Rebo, middle of the park. Then Defoe has a bit of a tangle in the middle with Christie. And I think the referee might have given that as a free kick.
I think either that, or I think you just watched that ball deflect off of him. But I think he might have just given it as a Celtic goal kick. But in any case, it is going to be Celtic's ball, a chance to try and play out from the back again. And it's worth mentioning because, of course, we've had that really strong challenge and we've had the goal from Edouard. But just before the goal from Edouard, Defoe had a chance in the Celtic box, and his shot was straight at the keeper.
Yeah, that's right. You've got to take your chances. I think that Morelos tends to be the man who gets selected, and I don't know how rusty that makes Defoe. I mean,
well, he hardly played any part at all. He certainly didn't start in the 2 games against Legia, did he?
And obviously you think, he's a great lad to bring off the bench as a Celtic player down. Just as Golson goes back to his keeper, McGregor finds Tavernier. Rangers aren't going to put the ball out any time soon, but there's a little bit of a gamble there by Tavernier just to get past Bolingoli. Then Jack, and he gives the ball away again. Little heel, and I thought McGregor I thought he was going to get stuck right into Jack. Then he backed off a bit, didn't he? I was surprised at that.
He did a little bit, and maybe this is part of the referee's influence. Perhaps players are just worried that it doesn't matter how strong the challenge is on them, they're not going to get booked, or the opposition player's not going to get booked anyway. So maybe they are trying to back up a little bit.
I thought McGregor had a free hit there, albeit he's done one already. But maybe he's thinking, he'd be on a bound to book me if I've done it twice. Anyway, Flanagan plays down the line for Arfield. Gets it back to Flanagan, controls it, drills it right-footed. Lovely little ball on the inside to Kamara from Defoe. Better from the Teddy Bears as they come forward with Jack over the halfway line. But he's looking for players to show for him. It's just gone a little bit quiet. I wonder if everything that's happening in the midweek is just taking a little bit of the steam out of it. Blimey, imagine these two firing in if they've had a week. But here is Aribo now, finds Arfield, tries to flick that ball to Defoe, can't do it. Kamara just heads it on, headed up in the air by Bolingoli, then Brown. And a bit of head tennis, but Rangers have it back. Ball chipped to Flanagan. He's over the halfway line, and Kamara hurdles the challenge, but the ball breaks back. I don't know if the referee stopped it there. In fact, it's a free kick for Rangers. They've taken it quickly with Katic. And now for Jack, who's got options. Got a man out his right hand side to Vernier, but he goes simple ball on the inside for Davis. Flicks one, great ball to the left hand side for Flanagan. Tries to put the cross in. Wants the ball to go out for a corner, but it won't. He's got to cut back. Then he runs into Forrest. I don't know how he could make himself invisible there. But it's a free kick and it's gone Celtic's way. Yeah,
chance now for Celtic to get the ball away from their own box. Still very, very little work for Fraser Forster, though. And that's something that I'm sure Stephen Gerrard will try to address at half-time, is that his side have had enough possession to cause Celtic problems, but they haven't really caused them the problems yet.
Yeah, I mean, the best opportunity was when Defoe took the ball off Aribo, who would have been played into the box. I mean, you're probably not going to get that many chances in a game like this. It's Rangers 0, Celtic 1, 41 and a half minutes on the clock. And, it's the Celtic fans who are making more noise in Ibrox at the minute. But, there's many a twist and turn I'm sure. As Defoe can't bring that ball in. Arfield just pads it forward. Did it come off Hatem El Hamed? I think it did. And so it will be the Gers with a throw deep in Rangers in Celtic territory down the left-hand side. And Flanagan will be handed the ball. So, good ball for Davis to join in. Kamara, then to Jack, to Vernier on his outside. He's closed down by Mikey Johnston. But James Tavernier, little shimmy, in and out, gets the byline, good play. Then terrible ball in. And a bit on, very comfortable clearing it.
As you said, it wasn't a good ball in, easily dealt with in the end. And an opportunity now for Celtic to at least get that, for Rangers to at least get that ball back into the penalty area. But Mikey Johnson's still down on the ground.
Yeah, feeling, seems like right leg. Don't know quite what's ailing him there. He picks himself up. And Scott Brown has a word with him. Plays part in the goal. Mikey Johnston, a hamstring perhaps, feeling that. As Tavernier has another go at him. Chips the ball into the box again, headed away by Bitton at the near post, but not that far. As Davis picks it up, and now he scampers round a challenge or two, just the edge of the area, finds Arfield, all right foot on that left-hand side, but the ball goes backwards, and again they're just having to try and clear their lines, but Forrest then intervenes, eventually puts the ball out, will be just a throw, in a promising position. I'm not sure I like the shape of Rangers today. They're a little bit narrow, aren't they, and maybe need a bit more width.
Yeah, a little bit. They just seem to be... although they have got wide men in Arfield and Aribo, they're almost playing as additional sort of central players alongside Defoe, and they're sort of waiting for Flanagan and Tavernier to get forward as the wide men.
Yes, right, but Tavernier, as we've seen, even when he's got to the byline, he's not delivered a good ball in, and he doesn't look like Flanagan, who's all right foot on that left-hand side, he's going to be the man to overlap and get to the byline. So, yeah, it's just all funneled into the middle. I think that's made life a little bit easier for Glasgow Celtic, and it's Glasgow Rangers who probably need to do a bit of noodle scratching at the break to work out how to get their goal forward going, and of course Morelos may play a big part too, because I don't think Jermaine Defoe's played particularly well the first half. That might be an obvious change. Anyway, he's Tavernier over the halfway line, Bolingoli intervenes, but it's a nothing ball. And not a good clearance from Johnston, but Bitton comes to tidy up and then loses the ball. Kamara with the foot in. Forrest tries to get there. Arfield battles away to see her bodies all over the shop in the end. Well, the ball keeps drifting into midfield, and so you're going to get those crunching challenges.
Yeah, I mean, there was a strong challenge from Arfield which wasn't stopped. There was just a little trip afterwards, which actually gave the free kick to Celtic in the end. But Steven Gerrard there, well, he always looks like a manager who's deep in thought. Even when his side went 4 or 5-0 away from home in the SBL, he'll still come out afterwards and say that he wasn't pleased with this, or this. So he's very much the demanding manager. But he'll have a lot to say to his players, I think, at half time, because this hasn't been good enough from Rangers as the home side, has it?
No, it's not. It's not. As Brown picks it up under a bit of pressure by Aribo, gets rid of it. Defoe closes down Bitton, but not in time. As he gets the ball away to Gregor, Edouard brings it in, finds Bolingoli. And ball back, get it to Golson, could dive in at. Edouard did well to get his legs out of the way there.
4 minutes of injury time in this first half.
Yeah, and I'm not overly surprised at
I suppose,
that.
I mean, Bolingoli's injury was a couple of minutes, then El Hamed was down, we've had a goal as well, so I suppose you would get 4 minutes from that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, fair enough. Aribo now on the ball, and he flicks it out to the right hand side. Tavernier had made ground. Arfield's in the middle by himself, but they can't find him from there. As then the ball just stuffed down the line. They're going nowhere quick though, and I don't know. I would definitely say that although Celtic have had to contain a fair bit, they've looked comfortable doing that. And then when they've had to break out, obviously they've made that stick with a goal. There's not much between these two teams, and neither has been great the first half. You know, we've seen a little bit of passing, a little bit of endeavour, not enough finesse from either of the two teams really. As the ball lamped forward, I use the word lamp advisedly, nothing great about that. Flanagan then tidies up, and eventually Kamara caught in the middle of the park. And another obvious free kick. I'd say Hatem El Hamed has played quite well. He drifts off that right full-back slot to come in midfield and get involved, doesn't he? I quite like that about him. You've got to be careful that he doesn't get caught, but they're not overlapping him because of Flanagan, and he probably thinks he can steal a bit of ground and go help out in midfield.
He can, yeah, and he's been able to do that, and he tried to get the ball through as well, as Rangers now send a long ball through towards the edge of the area. Bitton was jumping, but he didn't actually get a touch on it. I think they were aiming at Katic. As you mentioned, he is that sort of natural target man for Rangers in those set pieces, but the ball goes out for a goal kick.
Yeah, so Steven Gerrard looking on, penny for his thoughts. I doubt he'll be the type to scream and shout at his team. Doesn't really seem like that kind, does he? Was a leader from the front with Liverpool. Did them yesterday. Pretty impressive, really. You know, another easy victory for them. I think Steven Gerrard had been Player of the Year at Liverpool about 4 times. Certainly terrific player himself, and I read his autobiography. Some good managers there as well. Benitez might have been the best of them, albeit that he was a bit unfathomable as a person and inscrutable, if you like, whereas the likes of Houllier, whatever, might have been a bit more approachable, but handsome as his handsome does, and if you're winning pots and trophies, nobody seems to mind. You can be anything you like. But, I think he's a decent manager, Steven Gerrard, and obviously still a bit of a learning curve. But the one thing being at Rangers, the way things have stacked, he'll get plenty of time to perhaps learn by his mistakes and get to build what it is that he wants to do.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm always wondering with Steven Gerrard is how long he wants to be at Rangers. I think that he's certainly done very well at Rangers, and he'd like to do even more. But a bit of work here now for Celtic at the edge of their own area, as Defoe was running into the box there, but Bitton just waited for that ball to bounce and is able to clear it to the halfway line. Did
all right there, Bitton, but good work by Tavernier. But Bitton tries to read that play, but loses the ball. A chance for Aribo. Into the box he goes, he wriggles. The ball now for Tavernier. Into the box, headed back away. But Rangers still have it at the edge of the area. An opportunity.
Oh.
Davis, was that shot? Cross? Don't know what that was. Not very good though from Stephen Davis.
No, he's so whether or not it's a miscued shot or a miscued cross, he sliced that one straight out for a goal kick. And so that's going to be it for this first half.
It is, and so it will be Celtic who are going a goal up at Ibrox.
Half time at Ibrox, and it's Celtic who lead by a goal to nil. Goal scored by Sonny Edouard on 32 minutes. It's been a game that's been played at a high intensity but very few chances. And when Celtic took the lead on 32 minutes, it was a ball played through. Edouard was just about onside and he tucked the ball under Alan McGregor. There was a good chance for Rangers just before, but Jermaine Defoe had his shot straight at Fraser Forster. Other than that, there have been a few strong challenges, no bookings as yet. Both teams trying to get into the game, but a lot of midfield possession, and it's Celtic who lead 1-0. Half time at Ibrox, and it's Celtic who lead by a goal to nil. Goal scored by Sonny Edouard on 32 minutes. It's been a game that's been played at a high intensity but very few chances. And when Celtic took the lead on 32 minutes, it was a ball played through. Edouard was just about onside and he tucked the ball under Alan McGregor. There was a good chance for Rangers just before, but Jermaine Defoe had his shot straight at Fraser Forster. Other than that, there have been a few strong challenges, no bookings as yet. Both teams trying to get into the game, but a lot of midfield possession, and it's Celtic who lead 1-0. Half time at Ibrox, and it's Celtic who lead by a goal to nil. Goal scored by Sonny Edouard on 32 minutes. It's been a game that's been played at a high intensity but very few chances. And when Celtic took the lead on 32 minutes, it was a ball played through. Edouard was just about onside and he tucked the ball under Alan McGregor. There was a good chance for Rangers just before, but Jermaine Defoe had his shot straight at Fraser Forster. Other than that, there have been a few strong challenges, no bookings as yet. Both teams trying to get into the game, but a lot of midfield possession, and it's Celtic who lead 1-0. Half time at Ibrox, and it's Celtic who lead by a goal to nil. Goal scored by Sonny Edouard on 32 minutes. It's been a game that's been played at a high intensity but very few chances. And when Celtic took the lead on 32 minutes, it was a ball played through. Edouard was just about onside and he tucked the ball under Alan McGregor. There was a good chance for Rangers just before, but Jermaine Defoe had his shot straight at Fraser Forster. Other than that, there have been a few strong challenges, no bookings as yet. Both teams trying to get into the game, but a lot of midfield possession, and it's Celtic who lead 1-0. Half time at Ibrox, and it's Celtic who lead by a goal to nil. Goal scored by Sonny Edouard on 32 minutes. It's been a game that's been played at a high intensity but very few chances. And when Celtic took the lead on 32 minutes, it was a ball played through. Edouard was just about onside and he tucked the ball under Alan McGregor. There was a good chance for Rangers just before, but Jermaine Defoe had his shot straight at Fraser Forster. Other than that, there have been a few strong challenges, no bookings as yet. Both teams trying to get into the game, but a lot of midfield possession, and it's Celtic who lead 1-0. Half time at Ibrox, and it's Celtic who lead by a goal to nil. Goal scored by Sonny Edouard on 32 minutes. It's been a game that's been played at a high intensity but very few chances. And when Celtic took the lead on 32 minutes, it was a ball played through. Edouard was just about onside and he tucked the ball under Alan McGregor. There was a good chance for Rangers just before, but Jermaine Defoe had his shot straight at Fraser Forster. Other than that, there have been a few strong challenges, no bookings as yet. Both teams trying to get into the game, but a lot of midfield possession, and it's Celtic who lead 1-0. Half time at Ibrox, and it's Celtic who lead by a goal to nil. Goal scored by Sonny Edouard on 32 minutes. It's been a game that's been played at a high intensity but very few chances. And when Celtic took the lead on 32 minutes, it was a ball played through. Edouard was just about onside and he tucked the ball under Alan McGregor. There was a good chance for Rangers just before, but Jermaine Defoe had his shot straight at Fraser Forster. Other than that, there have been a few strong challenges, no bookings as yet. Both teams trying to get into the game, but a lot of midfield possession, and it's Celtic who lead 1-0. Half time at Ibrox, and it's Celtic who lead by a goal to nil. Goal scored by Sonny Edouard on 32 minutes. It's been a game that's been played at a high intensity but very few chances. And when Celtic took the lead on 32 minutes, it was a ball played through. Edouard was just about onside and he tucked the ball under Alan McGregor. There was a good chance for Rangers just before, but Jermaine Defoe had his shot straight at Fraser Forster. Other than that, there have been a few strong challenges, no bookings as yet. Both teams trying to get into the game, but a lot of midfield possession, and it's Celtic who lead 1-0. Half time at Ibrox, and it's Celtic who lead by a goal to nil. Goal scored by Sonny Edouard on 32 minutes. It's been a game that's been played at a high intensity but very few chances. And when Celtic took the lead on 32 minutes, it was a ball played through. Edouard was just about onside and he tucked the ball under Alan McGregor. There was a good chance for Rangers just before, but Jermaine Defoe had his shot straight at Fraser Forster. Other than that, there have been a few strong challenges, no bookings as yet. Both teams trying to get into the game, but a lot of midfield possession, and it's Celtic who lead 1-0. Half time at Ibrox, and it's Celtic who lead by a goal to nil. Goal scored by Sonny Edouard on 32 minutes. It's been a game that's been played at a high intensity but very few chances. And when Celtic took the lead on 32 minutes, it was a ball played through. Edouard was just about onside and he tucked the ball under Alan McGregor. There was a good chance for Rangers just before, but Jermaine Defoe had his shot straight at Fraser Forster. Other than that, there have been a few strong challenges, no bookings as yet. Both teams trying to get into the game, but a lot of midfield possession, and it's Celtic who lead 1-0. Half time at Ibrox, and it's Celtic who lead by a goal to nil. Goal scored by Sonny Edouard on 32 minutes. It's been a game that's been played at a high intensity but very few chances, and when Celtic took the lead on 32 minutes, it was a ball played through. Edouard was just about onside and he tucked the ball under Alan McGregor. There was a good chance for Rangers just before, but Jermaine Defoe had his shot straight at Fraser Forster. Other than that, there have been a few strong challenges, no bookings as yet. Both teams trying to get into the game, but a lot of midfield possession, and it's Celtic who lead 1-0. Half time at Ibrox, and it's Celtic who lead by a goal to nil. Goal scored by Sonny Edouard on 32 minutes. It's been a game that's been played at a high intensity but very few chances, and when Celtic took the lead on 32 minutes, it was a ball played through. Edouard was just about onside and he tucked the ball under Alan McGregor. There was a good chance for Rangers just before, but Jermaine Defoe had his shot straight at Fraser Forster. Other than that, there have been a few strong challenges, no bookings as yet. Both teams trying to get into the game, but a lot of midfield possession, and it's Celtic who lead 1-0. Half time at Ibrox, and it's Celtic who lead by a goal to nil. Goal scored by Sonny Edouard on 32 minutes. It's been a game that's been played at a high intensity but very few chances, and when Celtic took the lead on 32 minutes, it was a ball played through. Edouard was just about onside and he tucked the ball under Alan McGregor. There was a good chance for Rangers just before, but Jermaine Defoe had his shot straight at Fraser Forster. Other than that, there have been a few strong challenges, no bookings as yet. Both teams trying to get into the game, but a lot of midfield possession, and it's Celtic who lead 1-0. Half time at Ibrox, and it's Celtic who lead by a goal to nil. Goal scored by Sonny Edouard on 32 minutes. It's been a game that's been played at a high intensity but very few chances, and when Celtic took the lead on 32 minutes, it was a ball played through. Edouard was just about onside and he tucked the ball under Alan McGregor. There was a good chance for Rangers just before, but Jermaine Defoe had his shot straight at Fraser Forster. Other than that, there have been a few strong challenges, no bookings as yet. Both teams trying to get into the game, but a lot of midfield possession, and it's Celtic who lead 1-0. Half time at Ibrox, and it's Celtic who lead by a goal to nil. Goal scored by Sonny Edouard on 32 minutes. It's been a game that's been played at a high intensity but very few chances, and when Celtic took the lead on 32 minutes, it was a ball played through. Edouard was just about onside and he tucked the ball under Alan McGregor. There was a good chance for Rangers just before, but Jermaine Defoe had his shot straight at Fraser Forster. Other than that, there have been a few strong challenges, no bookings as yet. Both teams trying to get into the game, but a lot of midfield possession, and it's Celtic who lead 1-0. Half time at Ibrox, and it's Celtic who lead by a goal to nil. Goal scored by Sonny Edouard on 32 minutes. It's been a game that's been played at a high intensity but very few chances, and when Celtic took the lead on 32 minutes, it was a ball played through. Edouard was just about onside and he tucked the ball under Alan McGregor. There was a good chance for Rangers just before, but Jermaine Defoe had his shot straight at Fraser Forster. Other than that, there have been a few strong challenges, no bookings as yet. Both teams trying to get into the game, but a lot of midfield possession, and it's Celtic who lead 1-0. Half time at Ibrox, and it's Celtic who lead by a goal to nil. Goal scored by Sonny Edouard on 32 minutes. It's been a game that's been played at a high intensity but very few chances, and when Celtic took the lead on 32 minutes, it was a ball played through. Edouard was just about onside and he tucked the ball under Alan McGregor. There was a good chance for Rangers just before, but Jermaine Defoe had his shot straight at Fraser Forster. Other than that, there have been a few strong challenges, no bookings as yet. Both teams trying to get into the game, but a lot of midfield possession, and it's Celtic who lead 1-0. Half time at Ibrox, and it's Celtic who lead by a goal to nil. Goal scored by Sonny Edouard on 32 minutes. It's been a game that's been played at a high intensity but very few chances, and when Celtic took the lead on 32 minutes, it was a ball played through. Edouard was just about onside and he tucked the ball under Alan McGregor. There was a good chance for Rangers just before, but Jermaine Defoe had his shot straight at Fraser Forster. Other than that, there have been a few strong challenges, no bookings as yet. Both teams trying to get into the game, but a lot of midfield possession, and it's Celtic who lead 1-0. Half time at Ibrox, and it's Celtic who lead by a goal to nil. Goal scored by Sonny Edouard on 32 minutes. It's been a game that's been played at a high intensity but very few chances, and when Celtic took the lead on 32 minutes, it was a ball played through. Edouard was just about onside and he tucked the ball under Alan McGregor. There was a good chance for Rangers just before, but Jermaine Defoe had his shot straight at Fraser Forster. Other than that, there have been a few strong challenges, no bookings as yet. Both teams trying to get into the game, but a lot of midfield possession, and it's Celtic who lead 1-0. Half time at Ibrox, and it's Celtic who lead by a goal to nil. Goal scored by Sonny Edouard on 32 minutes. It's been a game that's been played at a high intensity but very few chances, and when Celtic took the lead on 32 minutes, it was a ball played through. Edouard was just about onside and he tucked the ball under Alan McGregor. There was a good chance for Rangers just before, but Jermaine Defoe had his shot straight at Fraser Forster. Other than that, there have been a few strong challenges, no bookings as yet. Both teams trying to get into the game, but a lot of midfield possession, and it's Celtic who lead 1-0. Half time at Ibrox, and it's Celtic who lead by a 1-0. Goal scored by Sonny Edouard on 32 minutes. It's been a game that's been played at a high intensity but very few chances, and when Celtic took the lead on 32 minutes, it was a ball played through. Edouard was just about onside and he tucked the ball under Alan McGregor. There was a good chance for Rangers just before, but Jermaine Defoe had his shot straight at Fraser Forster. Other than that, there have been a few strong challenges, no bookings as yet. Both teams trying to get into the game, but a lot of midfield possession, and it's Celtic who lead 1-0. Half time at Ibrox, and it's Celtic who lead by a 1-0. Goal scored by Sonny Edouard on 32 minutes. It's been a game that's been played at a high intensity but very few chances, and when Celtic took the lead on 32 minutes, it was a ball played through. Edouard was just about onside and he tucked the ball under Alan McGregor. There was a good chance for Rangers just before, but Jermaine Defoe had his shot straight at Fraser Forster. Other than that, there have been a few strong challenges, no bookings as yet. Both teams trying to get into the game, but a lot of midfield possession, and it's Celtic who lead 1-0. Half time at Ibrox, and it's Celtic who lead by a 1-0. Goal scored by Sonny Edouard on 32 minutes. It's been a game that's been played at a high intensity but very few chances, and when Celtic took the lead on 32 minutes, it was a ball played through. Edouard was just about onside and he tucked the ball under Alan McGregor. There was a good chance for Rangers just before, but Jermaine Defoe had his shot straight at Fraser Forster. Other than that, there have been a few strong challenges, no bookings as yet. Both teams trying to get into the game, but a lot of midfield possession, and it's Celtic who lead 1-0. Half time at Ibrox, and it's Celtic who lead by a 1-0. Goal scored by Sonny Edouard on 32 minutes. It's been a game that's been played at a high intensity but very few chances, and when Celtic took the lead on 32 minutes, it was a ball played through. Edouard was just about onside and he tucked the ball under Alan McGregor. There was a good chance for Rangers just before, but Jermaine Defoe had his shot straight at Fraser Forster. Other than that, there have been a few strong challenges, no bookings as yet. Both teams trying to get into the game, but a lot of midfield possession, and it's Celtic who lead 1-0. Half time at Ibrox, and it's Celtic who lead by a 1-0. Goal scored by Sonny Edouard on 32 minutes. It's been a game that's been played at a high intensity but very few chances, and when Celtic took the lead on 32 minutes, it was a ball played through. Edouard was just about onside and he tucked the ball under Alan McGregor. There was a good chance for Rangers just before, but Jermaine Defoe had his shot straight at Fraser Forster. Other than that, there have been a few strong challenges, no bookings as yet. Both teams trying to get into the game, but a lot of midfield possession, and it's Celtic who lead 1-0. Half time at Ibrox, and it's Celtic who lead by a 1-0. Goal scored by Sonny Edouard on 32 minutes. It's been a game that's been played at a high intensity but very few chances, and when Celtic took the lead on 32 minutes, it was a ball played through. Edouard was just about onside and he tucked the ball under Alan McGregor. There was a good chance for Rangers just before, but Jermaine Defoe had his shot straight at Fraser Forster. Other than that, there have been a few strong challenges, no bookings as yet. Both teams trying to get into the game, but a lot of midfield possession, and it's Celtic who lead 1-0. Half time at Ibrox, and it's Celtic who lead by a 1-0. Goal scored by Sonny Edouard on 32 minutes. It's been a game that's been played at a high intensity but very few chances, and when Celtic took the lead on 32 minutes, it was a ball played through. Edouard was just about onside and he tucked the ball under Alan McGregor. There was a good chance for Rangers just before, but Jermaine Defoe had his shot straight at Fraser Forster. Other than that, there have been a few strong challenges, no bookings as yet. Both teams trying to get into the game, but a lot of midfield possession, and it's Celtic who lead 1-0. Half time at Ibrox, and it's Celtic who lead by a 1-0. Goal scored by Sonny Edouard on 32 minutes. It's been a game that's been played at a high intensity but very few chances, and when Celtic took the lead on 32 minutes, it was a ball played through. Edouard was just about onside and he tucked the ball under Alan McGregor. There was a good chance for Rangers just before, but Jermaine Defoe had his shot straight at Fraser Forster. Other than that, there have been a few strong challenges, no bookings as yet. Both teams trying to get into the game, but a lot of midfield possession, and it's Celtic who lead 1-0. Half time at Ibrox, and it's Celtic who lead by a 1-0. Goal scored by Sonny Edouard on 32 minutes. It's been a game that's been played at a high intensity but very few chances, and when Celtic took the lead on 32 minutes, it was a ball played through. Edouard was just about onside and he tucked the ball under Alan McGregor. There was a good chance for Rangers just before, but Jermaine Defoe had his shot straight at Fraser Forster. Other than that, there have been a few strong challenges, no bookings as yet. Both teams trying to get into the game, but a lot of midfield possession, and it's Celtic who lead 1-0. Half time at Ibrox, and it's Celtic who lead by a 1-0. Goal scored by Sonny Edouard on 32 minutes. It's been a game that's been played at a high intensity but very few chances, and when Celtic took the lead on 32 minutes, it was a ball played through. Edouard was just about onside and he tucked the ball under Alan McGregor. There was a good chance for Rangers just before, but Jermaine Defoe had his shot straight at Fraser Forster. Other than that, there have been a few strong challenges, no bookings as yet. Both teams trying to get into the game, but a lot of midfield possession, and it's Celtic who lead 1-0. Well, we're back then for second half independent off-tube studio commentary from the game at Ibrox. It's the first Old Firm derby of the season. Celtic leading away from home by a goal to nil after a goal scored by Edouard on 32 minutes. And we'll see how this second half goes, because Rangers had a lot of possession in midfield, but not too much in terms of chances in front of goal. And they've already made an attacking change as well, with Glenn Kamara being replaced by Shea Ojo. So this is Rangers going to a sort of 3 in attacking midfield with 2 holding midfielders in Jack and Davies. And John, we need to see a bit more from Rangers in front of goal in the second half.
Yeah, we do. We thought they were a bit too narrow in that first half as well. Maybe that helps them out where, I'd like to think that Shea Ojo plays inside left to Aribo's inside right now with Defoe through the middle. I'm not sure it's quite like that though. Shea Ojo is a Liverpool loanee. He's got a lot of talent about him, bags of pace, but can he put it all together? And in a big game like this, will he turn up? That's it. And I think at a certain point we're going to see Morelos, Rangers are going to be forced into that.
Yeah, but here's Ojo, his first touch of the ball. He's straight away on the attack down the left-hand side. He's charged down by El Hamed, and it is out for a Rangers throw right by the Celtic penalty area. Myself, Paul Shabakovic and John Hogan taking you through the action in this second half from Ibrox. Rangers trying to get on the attack straight away. Throw on taken, the ball goes back from Aribo towards Stephen Davis. Davis then lays that ball off for Flanagan, but he's under pressure, having to go back towards Katic on the halfway line. He plays the ball forward now. Davis tries to roll it in towards McGregor, but that one's cleared away by Julien, and now a chance for Celtic to go on the attack. Good challenge there from Flanagan. Keeps the ball in play as well, so now Rangers can carry on down the left-hand side. They can't. Flanagan couldn't keep it in play, as it turns out. Linesman has his flag up. Just to remind you very quickly, McGregor is in goal for Rangers. Tavernier, Goldson, Katic and Flanagan are the back 4. Then it's 2 holding midfielders of Jack and Davis, with Arfield, Ojo and Aribo as the attacking 3 playing behind Defoe. For Celtic, it's Forster in goal with the back 4 of El Hamed, Julien, Bitton and Bolingoli. Scott Brown and McGregor are the 2 holding midfielders, with Forrest, Christie and Johnston as the attacking 3 playing behind a goal scorer Edouard. And now it is Rangers playing out from the back again. Tavernier on the right hand side plays a ball over the top, which almost gets through to Defoe, but Bitton beats him in the air. Another chance here for Arfield down the right hand side, gets it to Defoe. He's got 3 players around him. He gets blocked off by Bolingoli, and Bolingoli then gets taken out by Defoe as well, and that's going to be a free kick to Celtic. Poor old Bolingoli, he's been through the walls in this game already, hasn't he?
Yeah, tagged there. I think Defoe there, because he lost the ball, it wasn't a good ball forward. He's a cracking player, but he's not having a good game today, and like I say, I think he's a bit ring rusty. But I think it was the right decision to go with him rather than Morelos. But I do believe they'll have to call on Morelos anyway at some point. Probably tell him to sort of not play within himself, but just keep a lid on it. They need him to score a goal, and he's a good player. And he's got a good scoring record for Rangers, but they need him.
Well, here come Rangers now. Ball over the top. Ojo will chase it. Forster comes out though. He's almost in 2 minds what to do when he came out there, Fraser Forster, but he just stabs the ball out for a throw to Rangers, gets it away from his own penalty area, so it's now closer to the centre circle than it is Celtic's box. But Rangers are still in possession down the left-hand side. Flanagan goes inside now to Davis. Davis goes back to Jack. Jack's ball doesn't quite reach his captain Tavernier though. Now a chance for Bolingoli to go forward. That's a really good challenge though from Ryan Jack. Takes out Bolingoli but does it cleanly. Gets the ball out towards Arfield on the right hand side. Arfield's cross in is just behind Defoe. Ojo can still keep it alive, but he's having to trot out of the penalty area. Then he lays it off to Flanagan. Flanagan on the left hand side finds Aribo. Aribo tight angle. He tries to get back onto his right foot, then threads the ball into Defoe inside the 6-yard box. Jermaine Defoe, as he gets the shot in, he does deflect off Bitton. Bitton was always on the Defoe there, and it's out for a Rangers corner.
Yeah, that's so Jermaine Defoe though, isn't it? Turn, shoot. That's going to be on target. That's going to hit the back of the net, but for the block there. And that's what he's good at. Both feet, and it's been pushed aside, so it's going to be a corner kick now for Rangers.
Yeah, it's an in-swinger from Stephen Davis, aimed at the 6-yard box. Good punch away though by McGregor. Really good punch because he gets a lot of distance on that. The ball ends up back by the halfway line, but Tavernier's there, gets another ball into the box. Header away by El Hamed, kept alive now by Arfield, goes back to Davis. Davis into Arfield, didn't quite read that. Ball is now cleared, and it's a chance for Celtic to go on the counter. Scott Brown playing a quick ball over the top. If Flanagan doesn't win the header, then Edouard could be in, but Flanagan does win and the header, but Rangers still give it away inside their own half. Johnston now does really well to control it. Jack just about gets a foot in there to stop the Celtic run, and then Arfield comes back. That's really good tracking there from Scott Arfield, because it looked as though James Forrest might be favourite there to win that one.
Yeah, not in a half-hearted manner. He went in for it. The only one person desperate to get that ball, and that was Arfield. You know, for Forrest is thinking that would be nice if I could pick that one up, but he really didn't commit. We're disappointed again in Forrest. Not, it won't be the first time, both for club and country. I think if I travel with the ball as well as he does, I want to be on the ball all the time. But yeah, he vanishes in some games, and
he just sort of gets a bit isolated on that wing and doesn't come in enough. And there may be something to that, because he's certainly not seen a lot of the ball today. But here is Aribo now. It's a good run down the left-hand side, but then the square pass to Arfield is a little bit short. So now Celtic are bringing the ball out. Challenge there on. Well, I think the suggestion was there that it might have been a dive from Callan McGregor. That's certainly what Flanagan was suggesting. The referee agrees to some extent, because he doesn't give a free kick. It's just going to be a throw, and that really should be the second yellow card, perhaps, after that shocking challenge in the first half, and now a second yellow for diving.
Terrible dive, that. You know, talked about that laughingly that Flanagan would be one of the first in the book, but you know, yeah, that was a terrible dive by McGregor, and you know, in real life, that would have been 2 yellow cards and him sent off.
Certainly would. In any other fixture, you would imagine so. Long ball now into the Celtic penalty area, but nobody in a Blue Rangers shirt was close to that one. So it's back with Fraser Forster now, just waiting till he has to pick the ball up there. Of course, Celtic, it is in their interest, of course, to try and kill a few seconds here and there with the lead that they have, and it's always going to frustrate the home players even more. Forster now with the long clearance down the middle, just over the head of Edouard. Header from Goldson. Arfield now wins the aerial battle, lays it off for Davis, and Davis is off. He tries to get the ball through to Defoe. He does find Jermaine Defoe, who's been forced out wide. He's got Ojo on the overlap, couldn't hold it up for long enough. Defoe, ball still kept alive though by Stephen Davis. He goes back to Ryan Jack, and then Jack plays it across here to Connor Goldson. So certainly a bit more intensity from Rangers early on in the second half.
That's the word, and that's the word I was about to use too. Johnson goes down holding his foot, and it's almost like Celtic have had that word as well.
Yeah.
You know, maybe from Scott Brown saying, look, let's be canny, try win your free kicks, you know, roll around a bit of play acting, it won't hurt. Let's make it a stop-start game. We've got the lead, you know, let's stop any momentum. Rangers trying to get on the front foot, trying to flow, but it's a very bitty game, isn't it?
It is a very bitty game, absolutely, and certainly we're seeing Alvaro Morelos now warming up for Rangers. And it's only 52 minutes gone, so I can't imagine that he'll be coming on just yet. But you never know. He may be thinking about giving him half an hour today.
Yeah, I would reckon so. I think 60-minute mark. As Brown reads the play, scampers past three challengers. Off goes Scott Brown. Real good chance here for Celtic, but what a challenge from Aribo. Kept going. Brown needed to use that ball.
He needed to send it away earlier there, Scott Brown. It was really good initially to win it back and then skip past three players, but fair play to Joe Aribo. On paper he's an attacking forward, but there he was deep in his own half, tracking back and winning the ball back as well.
Yeah, you got to do the hard yards sometime in a game like this. The fans love you for it. You know, so far Rangers have been the better team this second half. Can they frank that form with a goal? Sun shining at Ibrox, and maybe this is going to be their half, but they need to get back in it with that equaliser. You know, they'll be thinking about going on and winning it, but first things first. They've got a bit of momentum going. You know, they need to capitalise on that.
They do, and it's with Goldson now back in his own half. Plays it short to Katic. Katic over towards the left-hand side now. Flanagan is charged down. It's back with Katic again. And he's looking for options. One of them is Stephen Davis. He goes back now to Goldson. And it's with Tavernier now, over to Jack. Now it's forward here for Scott Arfield, and Arfield has got Tavernier on the right-hand side if he wants to use him. He's got two Celtic players around him, though. He's having to track back towards Scott Arfield. He then plays it square to Stephen Davis. He goes back towards the halfway line. Certainly Celtic doing what they can to press. Rangers just need to be a little bit more inventive with their possession, because they've got a lot of the ball, but they can't quite find the space to get into the area. Now it's over with Tavernier again on the right-hand side. He's got four Rangers players at the edge of the area. Good strong challenge there from Julien, and then a loose ball in midfield. Strong challenge there from Davis. Just about, so Katic it was, in fact. He just about wins the ball. Aribo then keeps it alive and plays it to Ojo. Ojo on the left-hand side, edge of the penalty area, gets a cross in, which is charged down by El Hamed. Loose ball is going to stay with Shea Ojo, and this time it's James Forrest who just gets his body in the way and forces Ojo to either leave him or to run into him and give away the free kick, and that's what he's done.
Yeah, I think he read that pretty well. Forrest knew which way he was going to go, then just got his body in the way. I've got to say, yeah, I know it will look vaguely the same. I don't really like the Celtic strip this season. Funny collars from 1970 odd or something, but not in a classy way.
These sort of fashions go in circles, don't they? I mean, I think Arsenal's kit this season is supposed to be a homage to their sort of kits from the late 80s, and certainly the yellow away strip is very similar to that old JVC kit they had during their time.
They've got green in the socks as well, rather than just white socks. Don't like that. Yeah,
well, it's as you said, it's a difficult one when obviously the green and white hoops have to be the Celtic kit. There's no way around it. So I suppose the kit maker can go a little bit more crazy on the away kit and try and, as you say, have these little variations with the green socks and perhaps a green sort of second shorts as well. But as I say, it's so iconic that Celtic. Just indeed, as the Rangers one, they've got a few little details there on the collar and on the shoulder, but it's always going to be all blue as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Rangers strips stand up. Don't like Celtic one at all. But anyway, nice to see them both in their traditional colours. That's something in this Old Firm derby. Rangers had played better since the break, but it just seemed that fresh start after the break just seems to have petered out.
It has a little bit, yeah. And for all the good start the Rangers have had, they've had one. It's not even a shot on target. It was a shot from Defoe which was blocked immediately. So there's still been no real work for Fraser Forster, other than that one corner kick he had to punch out. But now a ball over the top. It doesn't quite sit up for Ojo, but he still gets a volley away, and it forces a save from Forster. The keeper was on his near post, so really it would have had to have been an amazing strike or a bit of an error for that ball to beat him. But he does knock it out for a corner.
Yeah, great ball over the top from Davis. And Forster goes down in instalments, protecting that near post.
Yeah.
I thought he might hold on to
I thought he was going to catch it as well, in fairness. But it is going to be a corner kick now. In-swinger from Stephen Davis from the left-hand side. It wasn't too far away from finding Goldson there, but a good defensive header. Davis then tries to keep the ball alive. Runs straight into Ryan Christie, though, so it's going to be out for a Rangers throw. Down the left-hand side now. Davies going back towards Ryan Jack. He now goes square towards Tavernier, and now Rangers looking to try and get back on the attack. He plays the ball through the middle. Strong challenge there from Julien. Loose ball lost in the middle though by McGregor, and now a ball out towards the right-hand side, which Ojo chases down himself. Gets all the way to the byline here. Can't keep it in play though. It is out for a Celtic throw. Bolingoli wanted to take it quickly. And so the linesman just having a word with him about something there. Not quite sure what that was about, but the ball is now back with Bitton. Bolingoli again brought down by Ojo, and it'll be a free kick to Celtic.
Taking in turns to kick Bolingoli, but he must be built to stern stuff, because he's still out there playing strong, and we keep seeing Morelos warming up. And he's getting ready.
Yeah, they're getting the clipboards out. It's nice to see that Rangers have still got the old-fashioned sort of printed formation sheets rather than the sort of obligatory iPad you see in the Premier League now these days, where managers, of course, it's a handy tool to have, of course, because not only can they show players a sort of live graphics, they can also have a little bit of Sky Go on in the background, so they can see the replays just as quickly as we can if they're unhappy about something that's happening on the field. But in any case, we are going to see Alvaro Morelos on the field very soon. Imagine it'll be a straight swap for Jermaine Defoe, but De Gerrard might surprise us and go even more attacking, of course. Rangers still trailing in this game as they go forward now down the right-hand side. Tavernier's ball is blocked by Bolingoli. Now it's with Callum McGregor in midfield. Plays it forward for Edouard. Strong challenge there from Katic, but a clean one, says the referee, and it's now with Aribo. He's got Flanagan on the overlap down the left-hand side, but he goes back inside now towards Stephen Davis. And he goes across towards the right-hand side. That's a bad ball from Stephen Davis. Very uncharacteristic from him. 10, 15-yard pass, misses its target.
Yeah, not like him that, but we'll give him benefit of the doubt. Morelos coming on.
It is for Defoe.
And Defoe coming off. And we knew that was going to happen. And it's, obvious, really. But, I think he might prove to be the missing link. Alfredo Morelos. He's got a bit more movement about him. I think a bit more pace about him. So that's probably a good move for the Gers.
So we're just about an hour gone in the Old Firm derby at Ibrox. It's still Rangers 0, Celtic 1, but it's been a bright start for Rangers in this second half. There's just been a bit more energy about Steven Gerrard's side. They've had a lot more possession inside the Celtic half than vice versa, but for all of that, they've not really had too many chances in front of goal. There was a strike from substitute Shea Ojo, which forced a save from Forster. There was also a good opportunity after a shot came in from Jermaine Defoe, but that was charged down. Jermaine Defoe, by the way, has just been replaced by Alvaro Morelos, who comes on for the last half an hour to try and sharpen up this Rangers attack. But Celtic weathering the storm pretty well for now, and it's still Rangers 0, Celtic 1.
So, first thing that Morelos does is turn the ball around somebody, drive to the edge of the box, and then slice a shot into the crowd. But at Ibrox, they're excited about that because it's something. It's what he does: drive forward, get the shots away, put the opposition under pressure. You know, Defoe is a fox in the box, waiting for the ball on the shoulder. It didn't quite happen there as Edouard just trying to shoulder into Galton. But the ball ends up in hands of McGregor. No worries. Rangers on the front foot. They have been for the most of this second half, and here they go again with Arfield down the left.
Yeah, just stops his run on the left there. Arfield switches the play now to the right, but it's a huge booming ball that's going to give everyone time to adjust, although Tavani does well to control it and gets it back to Ryan Jack. Now it's with Stephen Davis. Ryan Jack again looking for some space for Ojo down the right hand side. He plays it quickly to Tavani. He gets an early ball in. Good header away there by Bitton, and then Callum McGregor feeds the ball forward towards Edouard. He's under pressure there from three Rangers players. Forces the throw though. It's going to be Celtic possession down their left hand side.
Yeah, Edouard's a big man. He's 6'2", and you feel then the ball coming into back to goal should stick. Yes, he's surrounded there, but I'd like to see him with a more positive touch. You know, one touch to find that green and white shirt and then spin off. What he's tried to do half the time is take the ball, then turn. He gets caught. You know, somebody like Katic in behind him just blocks him away. Or 1, 2, 3 touch, eventually gets surrounded and lose the ball. You know, he needs to do an awful lot better. And again, he's got a little bit lucky there as Ryan Jack eventually upends him, Edouard, but he's messing about with the ball rather than making a positive touch back to one of his players. He didn't have a great deal of support, mind you. Eventually got fouled.
Yeah, he gets brought down eventually, Edouard, and so we did see some movement on the Celtic bench there. I was just trying to work out if that was Nachan we could see getting ready. Perhaps Neil Lennon thinking that it might be a time to start shoring up that central midfield, but it is a free kick to Celtic in a decent position. It's the first sort of attacking set piece they've had pretty much in this whole second half, and the ball coming in now towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It's overhit though. That ball's probably just going to roll straight out for a goal kick. Doing his best to try and stop that from happening there was near Bitton, and he's managed it. He's at least stopped the ball from going out for a goal kick. It is going to be a throw to Rangers, but Bitton just holding the back of his leg as he makes that interception there. Hopefully there's nothing too serious. And
no, he's off.
He's I think he may have done his hamstring there as he chased that one. He's one of those where he probably knows straight away that he's not going to be able to run on that one. But in the meantime, Celtic can go on the attack. Strong challenge there on Edouard. It's stopped. McGregor now trying to keep the ball alive for the visitors. Gets it back towards Ryan Christie. He runs straight into problems though, so he's got to play it back to Julien, and then he goes out towards the right hand side now for Hatem El Hamed. Mohamed down the right hand side. Really good run this from El Hamed. He gets past 2-3 players and then gets across him, which is a little bit too deep, but it's still going to force an intervention there from Tavernier. Plays it forward. That's nice work there from Ryan Jack to keep the ball alive. Now it's with Ojo. He loses the ball though far too easily. James Forrest now moving towards the edge of the Rangers penalty area. Forrest just losing his balance at the crucial moment. Just missed a step there as he was trying to get the ball into the box. And now Ojo, who has really looked very bright since he's come on, just gets bundled over a little bit as he tries to get the pass out to Rebo, and it's out for a Celtic throw.
Commentator's curse there.
I mean, literally, that was like a split second. The moment I said that Ojo's looked good since he's coming on, he plays a 10-yard pass, which doesn't reach his teammate. But more serious matters here. Near Bitton, I think his game's done today, isn't it?
Listen, he's been really good today. I think he's one of the candidates man of the match near Bitton. You know, he gets a little shove, doesn't he, from Flanagan?
Is it that little slip?
He slides, doesn't he? He's off the turf there by the corner flag, and he just goes onto that little bit of hard landscape, I think. You know, but it's like he's hyperextended or something, feeling that left hamstring, and he walked back on the pitch and then had his arm in the air as if to say, right, I've run my race, which might be bad news for Nichan, because he looked like he was about to come on.
Yeah.
Maybe they're going to have to make a defensive change. if they're going to bring Nicham on, I was thinking, well, who could go off? Ryan Christie's gone a little bit quiet, but it's probably somebody like Mikey Johnson who might have to pay if they want to get more solid.
Yeah.
Mikey Johnson, I thought, has had a good game, and for me, has played a bit better than James Forrest going forward, but I think they'd take him off just because he's a bit younger.
Yeah, I think they'll probably give Forrest that bit more, as we're going to see a change here, and it's going to be Bauer, who we remember from his time at Stoke City. The Austrian is going to be coming on here for Celtic, it would appear. He's more of a right-sided defender, I seem to remember, playing for Stoke rather than a centre-back. So this may mean that Bolingoli, or indeed more likely El Hamed, is probably going to go into that central midfield, central defensive role, and that's exactly what Neil Lennon's going to be telling him now, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Just having a word with that El Hamed, who's had a very good game, the Israeli. Bit on, not coming off particularly quickly, but gets a little embrace there from his countrymen. And like I said, it's a real shame. Moritz Bauer's going to be under pressure. Probably, like you say, playing right back, we think, for Hamed to switch back into the middle. And he's going to come on at the same time as Olivier Nicham, who is coming on for James Forrest.
Yeah, so after all of that, it does look as though Neil Lennon is seeing what we're seeing, that of his two wide midfielders, it's probably better to leave Johnston on the field today because he's just looked a little bit brighter.
And that's well spotted, really, because he hasn't had much influence. And Mikey Johnson, I think, is giving a lot of energy to the game. I just thought he would be the sacrifice, but not that Ryan Christie's done that well in the middle of the park, I don't think. But
no.
They probably just want it to be a bit more solid. And Nicham is certainly a good passer of the ball, and that means that also Edouard are more likely to receive some good ball as the game gets stretched later on.
Well, now, just in the middle of all of that, there was a long ball play to the edge of the Rangers penalty area, and Katic is forced to head it out. So this does mean a corner kick to Celtic now, and what John mentioned a few moments ago, that spring in the step that Rangers had in the first 10-15 minutes of the second half, that's starting to pass now, and they're actually struggling to get the ball out of their own half in the last few minutes here, the home side, and Celtic looking to increase their lead with this corner kick. It's a huge sweeping ball. It's a real massive amount of curl on that from the in-swinger, but it's sailed straight out for a goal kick.
It's a poor ball over it, beyond everybody. Set pieces haven't been good. I mean, the game hasn't been necessarily a good one, has it?
No, it's still been an exciting watch, but as you said, it's not been sort of end-to-end stuff. There's been a lot of midfield battling, and as much as I don't like to admit it, I think the referee may have had a point, because this second half has actually been fairly clean compared to a few bad challenges we saw in the first. We've not really seen anything too strong in the second. So you watch the commentators curse, there'll probably be a 10-man brawl in a minute, but as it stands, it's been a fairly well-natured second half so far. That might change, of course, as the game wears on and Rangers are chasing the game a little bit more. And there is another Rangers change being readied. I think that was Jordan Jones, the Northern Irishman, who's going to get ready to come on. We'll confirm that in just a second. But in the meantime, Rangers have got back on the attack. And here is Arfield now at the edge of the area, finds Aribo. Aribo tries to get a shot away. He rushed the shot a little bit, and then it got a slight deflection on the way, which made it very comfortable for Forster.
His first touch wasn't very good there, and that meant the ball got away from him. And then the next thing, that brings the markers in, the blockers.
Morelos nearly got a deflection on that as well.
Yeah.
He could have.
I mean, he's just hanging out a leg, and he there. But yeah, first touch killed Aribo there. Ball got away, and then you're slapping at the ball rather than giving it a good firm, shot from beneath your feet kind of thing, and you just don't get enough on it. Easy for Forster, but that's it. Fraser Forster's not had enough to do in this game.
No, he certainly hasn't. It's been a quiet afternoon for the Celtic keeper. Rangers trying to get back on the attack now. Morelos heading it back towards Ryan Jack. He's under a bit of pressure there. Still finds Morelos, though, on the right-hand side. Tavernier now looking for options inside the box. He gets it through back towards Ryan Jack. It's cut out, though, by Scott Brown, out for a Rangers corner. A welcome bit of attack now for the home side. We've gone past the three-quarter mark. It's 69 minutes gone now at Ibrox. It is Rangers 0, Celtic 1, and it's John to take us through to full time.
Yeah, those Rangers fans are going to try and suck that ball into the back of the net from this corner kick. As Tavernier puts one hand in the air, out-swinging ball. Forster comes and kind of spills it, but he, I guess, was judged to be bundled into it. The flag had gone up anyway, but they've just, for all the hustle and harrying and that bit more possession second half, Rangers haven't been able to do that much with it. They are back to make another change, and it's
It is going to be Jordan Jones, who's going to be coming on now for Ryan Christie. Actually, no, for Ojo, I beg your pardon. Yes, it's Ojo's going to
for Joe Rebo.
Rebo, yeah.
So I like Jordan Jones. I think he's a good player. He's a more natural out wide man rather than inside left or anything. You're probably playing that left hand side to deliver cross in for Morelos. And Morelos is not your archetypal target man, but they still probably want somebody from a bit wider. We talked about how narrow Rangers have been today, and that's not really helped them out. As we just see Bauer there with the first intervention, gets involved, flings himself at the ball. Rangers then go percentage ball down the line, not a particularly good one, and really give Alfredo Morelos any kind of opportunity there. Moritz Bauer goes back to take the throw. And looking long. Wow, what a long throw he's got. That's an amazing throw he's just taken from deep inside his own half. Now they're going back to the keeper from that.
I know, it's having to really start from the back there, but still got 20 minutes to go. Of course, the Rangers will feel as still they've got a chance, but they just need to get that spring in the step from what they had at the end of the half, and here come Celtic now.
Edouard with the shot, and it's just over the top. Good ball, won by Scott Brown, middle of the park. Allowed Edouard his chance. They just stood off him a little bit there, didn't they? As we just saw Katic and Golson just backing away. That really allowed him the shot. I'm usually sort of more impressed by Katic and Golson than I've been today, but they haven't had much to do. I couldn't have said what they've done. They've done well, particularly.
As I say, they've not had too much work to do at all. The few times that they have had some bit of pressure, they have been beaten once, of course, for that goal. As Celtic now trying to win the ball back on that right-hand side. The referee deciding that's just a little bit too keen to win that ball back there. I think that was a challenge there from Christie. But in any case, it's Steven Gerrard now looking just a little bit worried because he knows that there's still time in this game, but he just needs to see his side looking a bit more urgent. Yeah, and if there is going to be a changing of the guard at the top of the SPL, these Old Firm clashes where you need to make your mark. They're pretty much going to roll over everybody else as they have done already this season. I don't see any springers out the pack. The only problems they're going to get, obviously, is managing European commitments and then coming back. Whoever does that best will obviously, have a good chance of landing SPL. But these games are absolutely pivotal, and a victory, particularly at Ibrox for Celtic, he's not handing them the title because there's a long way to go. But it's a big blow landed early in the season, as we see. Again, Mikey Johnson has played pretty well. Good ball from him. And Nicham able to hold it up. Finds Johnson again. Tavernier nibbles, and eventually he has fouled Mikey Johnston. And it's going to be a free kick for Celtic, who've weathered, not exactly a storm. But they've had to defend a little bit deeper in this second half. They've had very few breakouts themselves. There's Bolingoli. Just chips one down the line, headed up in the air by Katic. Not particularly great from him. Edouard holds off his marker, and the referee's allowing play to go on there. As Davis now finds Flanagan over the halfway line. Chance for Jones then to have a little bit of a run. Flicks the ball inside for Arfield. Finds a good ball for Morelos. Now playing well, Shea Ojo. Little twinkle toes in and out movement at the edge of the box just to keep the ball alive. John Jones now having a bit of a run. He's tagged surely. Free kick. And it is Ryan Christie just catching him there as he cut back inside. And it provides an opportunity. Yeah, I mean, Christie's still trying to argue that there was no foul there, but I'm not really sure what basis he could say that. There was clearly contact. He brought the man down, and it was an easy decision really for Bobby Madden.
Yep, overcommitted. Players like Jordan Jones, who've got good footwork, can win your free kicks all day long, but can they find Katic? Really, Scott Brown marking him? Well, that's a mismatch, isn't it, right from the get-go? Anyway, Katic now wanting to lose Brown. Ball comes in, headed away. Good header by Julien. Now the counter-attack is on. As the ball breaks kindly, and Nicham now, can he run through the middle? Waiting for it, waiting too long, and eventually plays slow ball back. Bolingoli comes to help out. They do have bodies forward. Nicham again, good ball back to Bolingoli this time. As McGregor, a little flick and a shot from Nicham, and that sails into the crowd. Did it take a deflection? Doesn't look like they're going anywhere, does it?
No, but the players seem to have stopped at the edge of the area, so it may well be that this corner kick has been given. Well, yeah, no, it gets a flick off the back of Katic as he goes to close it down, so it should be a corner.
Yeah, I just thought it was a poor shot then, and but in the end it might have been a little bit better than that. Nicham, though, wasted the opportunity for the quick breakout. Had to step back on it, but more considered play is one. Celtic a corner. Can Glasgow Rangers defend it? Christie then puts the ball outside the quadrant. Surprised the fans are not screaming and baying at that, as the ball, the outswinger, deep to the far post, headed back on the inside, and a shot from range there. Eventually ball comes back out, another big deflection, and that one ends up on the roof of the goal, and it will be another corner.
Another corner, yes. It's good news for Celtic, bad news for Rangers, because of course it's more time spent defending when they want to be going up the other end to get that equaliser after the ball is initially headed away by Tavernier. Really good left-footed strike, although it was probably going straight down the middle, and eventually the ball deflecting off the head of Ryan Jack for another corner. Yeah,
poor defensive error actually from Tavernier caused all that uncertainty. He headed it back on the inside right into the danger area, didn't he? And you know, McGregor had a shot, and then the charm shot deflected as the corner kick taken short. Little give and go with Christie, and then now a little drag turn into the box. An opportunity for Celtic. The shot comes in, a save by McGregor. Ball breaks back out, another shot in, it breaks kindly, and the shot saved again by McGregor. Gets it out with his feet then. I think it might have been Julien, the centre back, with that shot that was saved. As now we see a little back heel, McGregor, little drag. Austin Edouard driving into the box, he cuts, and eventually that ball chipped away from him. Some defending to be done by Bauer, he does well. The ball flicked forward, and this time Julien can't get there, and he has got to mosey back for his defensive duties now. The counter-attack is on. Morelos turns at the halfway line. The game's getting exciting. He's got Jones in the overlap. He's looking to show a bit too much to Bauer. He brings him down. Referee's allowing play to go on as Jones tries to get round the back. Bauer then dives, but they've won a corner kick, Rangers.
They have. I mean, Bauer's standing there like he can't believe it that he's not got a decision in his favour, but Alan McGregor finally having to do quite a bit of work in a short space of time. That initial shot seemed to sort of surprise him. It was a decent save with the foot, and then the second effort, which looked like it was going wide, ends up with Julien, and the strike from him was on target, but it wasn't a particularly strong effort. Now here comes the corner from Davis.
Yeah, Rangers put the ball in. It's headed just the edge of the area. Shot from Ryan Jack, and that's blocked away. So now Morelos at the edge of the area, chips the ball in. Arfield with a header, glancing blow, not enough on it. And Forster can just watch that sail past his post. No real danger there. Game getting a bit fraught and anxious, and certainly Rangers desperate to do well now. Throwing a few more bodies forward, making the game a bit more free-flowing and open.
Yes, absolutely. It was a sort of the middle part of this second half was there was a bit of a lull, but certainly compared to the beginning of the second half and now, the game really has picked up a pace. At Ibrox, it's still Celtic who lead Rangers by a goal to nil, but there have been a few moments of decent attack for both teams. In fact, Celtic had 2 or 3 corners on the trot, which forced a couple of saves from McGregor initially from a strike from Julien. There was also an effort from just outside the box, which was well blocked. At the other end, there's been some work for Fraser Forster as well, after a couple of corner kicks for Rangers, but I'm sure Steven Gerrard would still like to see his side have a bit more intensity in front of goal. They've not had enough attacking possession really throughout the second 45 minutes. Ojo, Jones and Morelos are the 3 subs who've now come on for Rangers. Bauer and Nicham are the 2 subs who have come on for Celtic, who still lead by a goal to nil.
Yeah, good punt forward there by Forster. Flicked on by Edouard. Nicham trying to run onto it to close down McGregor. Can't do that. And then Julien with the little header. Hatem El Hamed now playing centre back for Celtic after the injury to Nir Bitton. It looks like he's hamstrung. McGregor fighting for it in the middle of the park. Ryan Jack comes away with the ball. Brown chases him. Finds Jaden Jones though. Running into the box now at pace. Can he get the cross in? It's deflected off Bauer. And that will be another corner kick for Rangers.
Yeah, a bit more pressure from Rangers now. They're just starting to turn it up a little bit. And you can see just how quickly Stephen Davis is running across towards that left-hand side. Doesn't want to waste any time in taking this corner.
Yeah, up go Goldson, Katic. In comes the corner. Up go the heads. And it's off a defensive head of Scott Brown. Shot from range to Vernier. That's still rising. A lot of screaming and shouting and angst from those Rangers players. 1 or 2 to Vernier, Goldson. not necessarily having good games. At a certain point, Tavernier's shot looked like it's going to hit the roof of the net, didn't it?
It did, yeah. I mean, it sat up beautifully. It invited a hit with the right foot there, didn't it, from Tavernier, and the strike just a little bit too high from him in the end. It sort of looked initially like it might be going on target, but it just rose over the bar and now forced it with his chance to clear.
Still 10 minutes left of the game at Ibrox, out of regulation play. Rangers have hustled and harried, but not shown any great finesse or quality on the ball, really. Need to do a little bit better. Can they just lay siege to that Celtic goal and somehow force that ball into the back of the net? I don't know. Becomes very difficult as Celtic plan this rearguard exercise, really. But Morelos now fighting with Hatem El Hamed, who does fairly well to hold him up. At the expense of a free kick, I think, which is taken quickly. Ryan Jack into the box it goes, and his attempted shot is well read by Scott Brown again, having a pretty good game, Scott Brown, today. And he read the danger. Real quick free kick.
Free kick. At no point did Bobby Madden say wait for my whistle or anything like that, so there's nothing wrong with taking that quick free kick. Just as well that the Celtic captain was alive to the danger, and he puts it out for a corner.
Bit of an onslaught now by Rangers. Camping in the Celtic half. Corner kick comes in. Up go the heads. It's not been cleared away. Bauer booted by Morelos. And there is a player down. Is another corner? Did it come off a Celtic head? Looks like they're all lining up for another instalment of the corners show at Ibrox. Rangers fans looking on, looking a bit glum at the minute. They're a goal behind. Can they get one back? The roof will come off the stand. But that's not a good ball. Headed away by Edouard at the edge of the area. Then Nicham in the D just punts it into the Rangers half, and there is nobody there bar Alan McGregor.
No, as you say, Rangers are pretty much camped. We're trying to camp inside the Celtic half now, leaving as many players forward as possible. Good run here down the left-hand side, trying to find space for the cross as well. But I think that one has just sailed straight out for a goal kick.
This time, Jordan Jones just overcooked it there. I think he's done well though since he's come on. I think they've got good ball into the box. Set piece might provide us good an opportunity, and he's won a couple of corners down that left-hand side. He's done all right. You know, no shortage of effort in this game, but a real lack of quality. Also, Edouard's strike is what separates the two teams. You need a little bit of luck, and I don't think, you know, there's maybe a cigarette paper between the two teams on the day, but nothing much. What I would say, though, equally, is that neither team has been great. You know, I think you know, obviously, if Celtic come away with a victory at Ibrox, then you give them plaudits. But they haven't been great. Nicham on a little run round. He has a shot away. McGregor, fumbles it back into his path, and then he heads it wide. That was a great opportunity for Celtic, and that's the best opportunity of the second half.
Yes, good work to get that ball through. It was Edouard feeding it through to Nicham, and his initial strike shouldn't have caused McGregor too many problems, but it did.
It did. Yeah, I don't know if there's any spin on the ball, but he just seemed to fumble it, didn't he? As Brown's getting his shirt pulled there by Arfield. Referees let that one go as well.
Yeah, I mean, Morelos then crashed into to Scott Brown after the initial challenge from Arfield as well, but the referees just allowed play to go on, and I'm loath to admit it, but it really has worked out for the referee. That all the challenges we saw in the first half, there hasn't been a sort of an escalation in the second half, and he's still not got his cards out.
Well, I don't know whether it's worked out for him or not, but
it might be more by luck than anything else. Though,
yeah, it's not the template to go about your business. Looks like Mikey Johnston's got cramped up here. He's worked hard. I wouldn't be at all surprised if that was the case, but he might be swinging the lead, playing the old soldier too. Those players who've had their expensively done tattoos are always keen to show us, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's footballers now that have got more tattoo than natural skin on their bodies these days, and certainly we're just waiting to see. Celtic can still make one more change. Rangers have used all of theirs, so Barisic, King, Helander and Fodring will be unused subs for Rangers this afternoon. But Celtic still considering making a change. I think, was that Morgan that we saw getting ready to come on there? Lewis Morgan, potentially he'll be coming on here. In fact, it's going to be Johnny Hayes who's going to come on here for Celtic, the number 15. And he's going to replace Mikey Johnston, who, as you said, not seen too much of him in the game, but the few times he's been on the ball, he's looked good. Yes,
he got that scampering style. He's lively, good touch on him, wanted to be involved. The game wasn't too big for him. He played pretty well. But anyway, it's Johnny Hayes' chance now. He of the tattoos to show us what he's got. As Goldson now has not had a good game. He now looking for a good out ball. Not bad, that, not bad at all. Ball into the box for Morales. He couldn't bring it in. Dabbed out a left foot to try and drag it in to get a shot away in the right. Didn't quite work out. But much better effort from Connor Goldson with a long ball this time.
Better effort this time it was, and Stephen Gerrard just looking on. He knows that his side have got a better chance than ever this season to try and match Celtic and overtake them, but this will already be a dent early on in the season for them to lose this game.
Yeah, I'm thinking about man of the match candidates now, and well, Biton was playing well before he went off, but Hatem El Hamed, I think, has played very well, drifted into midfield to win ball. Did well in his right back slot. He's now doing well at centre back, and I don't think I'll be looking too much further than him. Although the other centre back, Christopher Jullien, has played pretty well. I think I'll be looking at those as the sort of headline candidates. Eduard scored a good goal, but that's all he's done. He hasn't held the ball up particularly well, and I don't suppose we'd be picking out of a Rangers side particularly if they lose. But equally, I don't think anybody from Rangers has played necessarily that well today or caught the eye. Ryan Jack's put himself about in midfield. That's about it, really. I think. Yeah,
I think so. I think that's. I wouldn't look further, much further than now Hamed as well. I think he's had a good game this afternoon in both the jobs he's been asked to do, and of course. Still a few minutes to go, but as it stands, it looks like he has kept a clean sheet. Now this, I've got a real issue with this because now Davis has jumped and Scott Brown hasn't jumped with him, and as a result of that, Davis has hit the deck and the referee's given a free kick against Scott Brown there. Saw a very similar one in the game between Liverpool and Burnley yesterday, and it went the other way with Firmino judged to have been the one who was committing the foul.
Yeah, exactly, and I think that it depends where the ball is. It's a very difficult one to judge that. Anyway, ball into the box, and the header's come in. Goldson trying to get on the end of that, and he tangles with Jullien. I think it's really difficult for the referees. I hate seeing players back in, and then somebody flies over the top. So I think potentially that's dangerous. The Celtic player there pointing.
Furious there.
He's pointing right into the face of Bobby Madden, and if I'm Bobby Madden, I would not have that either.
Well, no, I mean he's very unhappy about something here, Christopher Jullien, and I'm not really sure what it is that he's got such an issue with. Does he say that perhaps there was some contact as he was going down? He's really sort of fired up as well. But we could see some of the Rangers supporters there starting to sort of hide their faces in their hands. They're getting worried now. But that's the first Old Firm of the season is going to go to their bitter rivals because there's not long to go now.
No, that's right, but a long way to go in the season as Nicham picks it up. Great ball inside, real opportunity now for Hayes, puts the ball in, but he can't find Eduard in the middle because Goldson is there and he blocks that. 2-0 would have been the death knell of the game. Rangers somehow still have a chance to get a point from it, but very nearly a second goal for Celtic.
Yeah, and this is good news for Celtic. Now they can keep the ball up the other end of the field, try and kill at least a minute or two with this corner kick, and they'll be hoping for perhaps a second ball or just a ball straight into the back of the net, of course, because a second goal for Celtic now really does wrap up the points.
They take the corner kick short, and Christie then finds Hayes, finds Nicham, who are probably going to go backwards, but he turns and then stabs a great ball forward. A real opportunity here for Christie. Straightens up, goes into the box. What can he do? He's held up there well by Tavernier, and he goes to the corner flag, and then he's bundled over. Got to be a free kick.
It's not been given as a free kick. This referee really is, as I say, he's an interesting one. Bobby Madden, I think, is the polite way of putting it. That was an obvious foul on Christie there, but the referee lets it go, and now Rangers trying to get forward again. Yeah,
and Bolingoli trying to just get goal side. Morales throws himself at the ball, but I'm not impressed by that. Nor the pass out. This ball being given away, Nicham picks it up and Arfield. He's got hold of his shorts for such a long time, and that is infuriating, really.
Arfield's furious there that Nicham sort of pushed him away. I don't know if the referee's had a bet with himself that he's not going to give out a yellow card today, but it's taken. That must be a record as well. I mean, we'd have to look that up. But 89 minutes for the first booking in an Old Firm game.
Nicham's having the shorts pulled off him there, and Arfield's got hold for such a long time.
I tell you what, Nicham was. a split second away from just doing a sort of a horse's kick, a horse's sort of rear up back at Scott Arfield there, but he sort of lifted his leg up and then just stopped himself at the crucial moment. Arfield was then trying to suggest to the referee that the champ sort of shoved him in the chest there, which probably could have, in any other game, probably would have resulted in a yellow card as well. But this referee really is trying to stop bookings today.
Yeah, that's right. And the referee then tried to get in the middle of them to stop any further. He's not a bouncer though, the referee, is he? Morelos then throws himself to the ground. He's saying then he got tagged by El Hamid, and now we're seeing players wanting to have a fight. Yeah. Morelos squares up to Bolingoli. Bolingoli squares up to Morelos. And it's going to be Bolingoli who gets the card, I think. Well,
Morelos has started all of this, and interesting enough, he then trots away, and no problems for him. I mean, he gets a hand to the chest, which isn't enough to bring down a healthy young man. Let's face it, that's not enough to put you on the deck. But then he reacts, sort of runs into Hayes, and then Hayes reacts, and he gets the booking. Whereas really Morelos started it, but we're going to get 6 minutes of injury time. Where have they got that from?
Well, there's enough for the 20-man brawl, isn't there? Anyway. Ball into the near post, just about headed back where it came. An opportunity for Arfield, but he can't get there ahead of Hayes, who pumps that ball up into the air. It's going to be a throw. Tavernier will take it. Rangers on the front foot here, trying desperate to get back in. Tavernier, can he put a cross in now? An opportunity, slings it far. Ball headed back across, sliced up in the air. Nobody knows where that ball is. An opportunity for Rangers. On the ball, nodded forward by Galton, but nodded wide. Yeah, that was a great opportunity.
It was a great opportunity. All Galton's got to do there, if he just takes a little bit of the sting out of that header, then it ends up like a pass to Arfield. But he's sort of trying to head it towards goal, and he doesn't get it on target, and he doesn't get it close enough to Arfield either.
I tell you what, I could watch another 10 minutes of this. The more desperate he's getting, the more dramatic
it's starting to just bubble up now nicely here, the Old Firm, with 5 minutes of injury time still to play. Yeah. And Bolingoli now has got a bit of cramp.
Oh, no, he hasn't. But yes, he has.
Both sides have now used all of their subs as well, of course. So any problems now, and the players on the field are going to have to cope with it.
Yeah, he looks all right when he gets up, though, doesn't he? Bolingoli, trying to wind down the clock, I'm sure. Maybe he's cramped up because the players have worked hard. There's no doubt about that. No shortage of effort in this game. But, for Celtic, just trying to wind down that clock. As they've got a goal kick, Fraser Forster takes it well over the halfway line. Nicham with a great flick on. Chance for Olsen Edouard running into space, but he's offside. That was a brilliant header from Nicham to play him in. But he had just got ahead of play there, and that's a shame after Nicham has done the hard work.
Yeah, he is offside, though. You can see that just from where he's straight out there, the flag goes up. And it was a fairly easy decision. I'm not sure the offside was from where McGregor's taking, though. He's added himself about 15 yards there to try and get this clearance as far high up the field as possible.
Headed back where it came by Julian, and then Nicham, good ball forward again. Now Hayes, an opportunity. Edouard back to Nicham, good ball to Hayes, puts him clear into the box. He goes 1-on-1, an opportunity, a shot and a save. He might get it back, Hayes, and he drills it into the back of the net, and that's it. He's won the Old Firm derby. They've got their second goal. Hayes scores. Rangers 0, Celtic 2.
Well, that's it at the Old Firm derby then. It looks like Celtic are going to get all 3 points this afternoon with injury time still to play. Celtic go 2-0 up. It was Rangers piling on the pressure, trying to get to that equaliser in the last few minutes. They weren't able to do it. Celtic go on a quick counter, and it was substitute Johnny Hayes. He picks the ball up on the left-hand side, uses Edouard and Nicham, who then get the ball back to Hayes. There was no way he could have been offside. He was coming in from deep. His initial left-footed effort is saved by McGregor. He then picks up the rebound himself and tucks it in with the right foot to give Celtic all 3 points. Rangers have tried their best in piling on the pressure, but Celtic have now hit them for the sucker punch. It's Rangers 0, Celtic 2.
My other thought about this game is that Olivier Nicham has been brilliant since he's come on. You know, he just picks a pass. He's such a classy operator. I cannot believe he can't get in this Celtic team. I think Neil Lennon needs to have a look at that.
I think Neil Lennon needs to have a look at himself a little. I'm not sure I like him sort of standing there with arms around the Griffiths, looking straight into the Rangers supporters. That's a little bit provocative, but of course Lennon lives for these sorts of Old Firm games, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does, but unless he wants to add to his coin collection, then he should probably keep it a bit more on the down low. But then again, it's it's a passionate game, it's a big game, and obviously means a lot. But I think they want to celebrate with themselves and not look to the crowd too much. Anyway, it is the Rangers trying to break forward now. Morelos just spinning and turning, but the ball doesn't go with him. Brown fighting for it in the middle of the park, and he comes away with it very strong. Nichama again, beautiful. Lovely little heel flick from him to buy himself some time, and then, it's Hayes who makes the break. In fact, it's McGregor down the left-hand side, but he runs out of pitch. Still got a minute and a half, but game's gone.
The game has gone. There's no way that the Rangers can score 2 now in the time that we've got left. You'll be frustrated, Steven Gerrard, because both of the goals, particularly the first goal, was avoidable. There might be a third here as Edouard puts pressure here, and he gets past Katic. Well, he almost gets past Katic. Katic just about stops him there with the last part of his slide tackle there. Just about wins the ball back when it looked as though he might have lost it. Now a header on which might go to Morelos. Morelos hits it early, but goodness me, the Rangers fans aren't hanging about, are they? Half of that stand behind the goal where Morelos has just missed is now empty.
That's right. The crowd is emptied out. The green and white section of the crowd in that corner, they want to stay and enjoy it. Brown and Morelos having their usual set to and word. Brown winding up Morelos and having a word with the referee. But the Celtic fans are absolutely bouncing it to Ibrox, enjoying what's been a comfortable victory. When I looked at the two teams, I thought Rangers might nick this one today, but they haven't played that well. Celtic have weathered the pressure, had a really coherent counter-attack second half, particularly when Nicham's been on. We see coming together again as Bauer goes down. And there's this, what's that?
Red. It's a straight red here in the final seconds of the game. He's been shown a straight red card there as the Rangers man. I think it's Jordan Jones. He's absolutely taken out Bauer. The interesting thing about that is that there have been worse challenges in this game, I think, but the referee deciding that one's a straight red.
Listen, I mean, it probably is. There's no attempt to play the ball, and he actually chops him down at the ankle. Weirdly enough, we've seen worse challenges in the game.
Absolutely, which haven't even given a yellow card. Yeah.
The weird, well, it's not weird, is it? Rangers 2-0 down, half the fans are gone, and so, all right, well, that one's a red card then. I mean, and it was, but, that's pretty atypical, isn't it? But I don't think, I'm going to give Rangers 4 out of 10 for their performance. Celtic 5.5, and I'm going to give Bobby Madden 2.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with any of that. I think that the referee's not had a great game today. It's been an interesting sort of old firm. Whether we commentate on them or not, I do try and watch as many of them as I can. And it's been a different sort of vibe today. But just as that free kick is taken, it's all over.
It is, and so it's Celtic take the honours in the Old Firm derby, the first one of the season. 2-0 in the end, very comfortable.
Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be